This video from Dylan came out a week ago. Hasan's response was to lie, claim that it never happened, say that it was all out of context.
Those of you said, chat, has he responded to Dylan Burns' post, by the way, before getting clapped? If you think that I would entertain such a psychotic thing ever in my life, I don't know what to tell you.
How is having actual Ukrainians engaging with your arguments psychopathic? It's objectively good for the online conversation, but he frames it as bad because they disagree with him.
There is nothing more perverted and psychopathic than literally putting Ukrainian people in Ukraine that are being bombed, okay, by an invading force that is unjustifiably occupying their country, making Ukrainians sit down and watch my clips out of fucking context in a way that you have framed it to have them go, oh wow, how fucked up this guy.
He'll never show what's out of context because nothing is. He's just lying again. And because it's Hasan, he then has to demonize Dylan for doing actual on-the-ground journalism by calling him a war tourist pervert.
I don't know what to say. It basically betrays the position that you have. Like, oh, I genuinely care about this. That's why I went out there, not because I'm like a fucking war tourist pervert.
It's the exact same response that red pillers give when they're under legitimate ridicule. Claim that it's all out of context, hoping their own audience doesn't go and actually look it up for themselves. And to some...
This is the thing I'll say is, I kept asking his fans that replied to the video, because most of the comments on the original video was actually quite positive. There are a few Hasan fans, and sometimes they'll say out of context, and I keep asking, could you please provide a clip? Or could you please tell me which part of the video was out of context? And I haven't been able to get from any of his fans what clip specifically was out of context. And the reason why is because Hasan never watched the video, so he couldn't determine if the clip was out of context. He watched an ad on Twitter for the video. So if Hasan is saying that the video is out of context without actually watching the video, and that the clips are shown out of context, even though I explicitly before and after the clips give the context, not only do I give the context, I give the dates that the quotes were said. The clips that are supposedly out of context, I give the dates, and I explicitly show that it was before the invasion. I say it was 3 days before the invasion. The quotes that are most often complained about. Like, I give all the context necessary, I believe, in the original video. I actually believe that I might have gone a little too far out of my way to do it, but that's fine. I think it's the right thing to do, is to give the person as much context as possible. But you can't call something out of context if you didn't even watch it. And the same thing happened with the Vanguard podcast. Remember, I reacted on my channel to the Vanguard podcast. I didn't bring this up on stream. I don't think I brought this up on stream. And I didn't bring this up because I'm not one to beat a dead horse, right? I don't want to engage in like the performative of like, you know, I dominate this person and I crush this. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't have a desire of that debate perversion, as Hasan calls it. But the Vanguard podcast reacted to Hasan's like accusations against me after I released a video and reiterated the idea that it was out of context and that Hasan has been one of the best streamers covering the war in Ukraine. That's what they would say. That's what they said. And then I reacted to it, and I noticed in their reaction that they also didn't watch the video. And I called it out. I said, what the fuck? How can you say that my clips were out of context when you didn't watch the video? That's very unfair. You can't watch an ad for Lord of the Rings and then say, here's my opinion of Lord of the Rings. You gotta watch the fucking movie. I feel like this is the bare minimum. If it's too long, if it's too much to listen to an hour and a half, if you don't like the audio, then don't react to it. Don't react to it. If I don't like, I'm not a big fan of rap music. I like some rap music, but I don't like rap music very much. And so what I'm not going to do is go up on stage and say, rap music sucks for X, Y, and Z reason. Since I don't listen to it, I wouldn't know enough about it to even critique it if I wanted to. So if you don't know about the piece, please just watch it. Just watch it before you critique it. Ultimately, the video that they released critiquing it, one second. Let's see if I can search it up. They actually ended up deleting the video, I believe. Second. They ended up deleting the video because on my channel, it was a little bit after I released it. What? Yeah, this one right here. Communist Podcast Defense Hasan from Dylan's new video. They deleted the video shortly after I released this. So it seems like there was an acknowledgement on the Vanguard podcast side that they probably should have watch the video before reacting to it. There was some acknowledgement from the Vanguard podcast. I don't think I'm going to get that same acknowledgement ever from Hasan. I don't even know if he'll ever even mention it again. It'll just be like a passing moment. Like, oh, remember that time the Ukrainians reacted to Hasan, and it's gone forever. Anyway, let's watch this WillyMac thing, huh? Let's watch this guy, WillyMac, confront Hasan. Hasan hates you? Yeah, I don't think he likes me very much. I don't think he's a big fan of me. Let's listen. Let's watch.
On that note, here's the WillyMacShow. What's up, WillyMacShow?
Hey, what's up, Hasan?
Not much. So I am not very familiar with what you do, but I believe you've done a couple videos about how dog shit I am, I think, right? You want to turn on your camera, by the way?
I mean, I'm recording. I don't think I can at the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, that's unfortunate, but all right. So you
Did you watch the videos?
No, of course not. I have a policy of not really watching videos such as that one, specifically because it will frustrate me, and then I will have to respond to it.
You want to debate about a video you didn't even watch?
Why? Yeah, of course. You made the video.
Okay. So this is a theme with him then. This is a theme with Hasan. He'll okay. At least in this case, he has the person who made the video in the room, so there's someone who can push back against it. In my case, he just called it out of context without watching it because it was frustrating. Is this really the standard? He doesn't watch videos that are critical of him because it's frustrating? Is that really the standard that Hasan holds himself to? Okay, whatever. Let him finish his sentence. Let me let him finish his sentence. But in this case, he has the person to talk to. But in my case, there was nobody in the room to even push back against all the accusations that were being thrown out against my video, which he didn't even watch. And is it really just boiled down to he probably didn't watch my video because he knew that hearing 4 Ukrainians critique him for an hour and a half would be frustrating. I think that's really how it's boiled down to, huh? It'd be frustrating to hear the people from the country that you're talking about critique you. Okay. Okay.
Like debating a random person about a video I didn't watch. You made the fucking video, so let's hear.
I know, but
what
that
your
kind of like
gripes
that kind
are.
of links up to like my big criticism with you, is that you don't actually put in the bare minimum effort to research anything before you jump to conclusions.
That's true.
That's why your tweet when you're like, "Hey, I want to debate Willy."
Do you really consider me watching a fucking dumbass YouTube video from a drama farming channel to be doing research? I don't need to do research
this is what you're
on a video.
About. You're going into a topic you don't know anything about.
Brother, just give me what you want to say. Give me what you want to say. The video's about me, isn't it?
Yeah,
so fucking talk to me about what the fucking points of the video are, and let's discuss it. The fuck do you mean?
Why
would I?
The thing is, Hasan, I don't think Hasan needs to necessarily watch the WillyMac video in order to have a talk with WillyMac. If there's a video that, like, let's say somebody releases like a 2-hour video, like the demon Dylan Burns or whatever, and it's like Dylan Burns, war tourist, pervert, whatever it is, right? I think if I was just to be like, let's just bring the guy on. I don't want to watch this 2-hour video. Just come on and bring your critiques directly to me. I think that's perfectly fine. So I don't really have a major problem with that, but what Willy said about Hasan not doing the proper research before saying things, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
I have to research a video about myself. Like, oh man, I can't believe I have to watch.
I have no doubt you didn't.
I have to watch a fucking dumbass talk shit for 25 minutes and jerk off like all the fucking talking points.
At Dylan Burns, wow, maybe it was good to see his response before pausing. No, I mean, I already said that I think it's not that difficult if he has the person in the room with him. It's not really that major of a problem because the person can just bring it up. But there is a problem with Hasan not reviewing the content or not reviewing things or not doing proper research before he makes statements, like he did with the Kerch Bridge, like he did with the right sector snipers, or like he did with my video. And so there's a pattern of behavior for Hasan for saying things before he really knows what he's talking about. Like he said with the JDAM missile, like he's on stream trying to listen to the sound, trying to compare it to other. He doesn't know how to do weapons identification. He can't figure that out.
That I've heard about myself over and over again. Incredibly stupid. Give me the fucking takes, and we'll talk about it. Okay, go on.
Yeah. My take is that you have a pattern of behavior where breaking news happens. You jump to wild conclusions, talking way too confidently.
Okay,
You
give me an example.
demonize everyone who
Pause.
disagrees with
Example. Give me an example.
you. All right,
Are you going to talk about? Okay.
There was reports that Ukraine was going.
So I think my main example I would use would probably Hunter Avalon. Thank you for the raid of 32 people. Thank you. I've been getting raided by a few people today. It's been very nice, all these raids. Thank you. I guess my example for the breaking news, I think he came out and called the Kerch Bridge attack a war crime very quickly. I already brought that up earlier. I think him talking about, of course, the hospital bombing, that was something that was irresponsible before having all the facts. Yeah.
Going to be invaded by Russia. You confidently said no, it wasn't, despite all the reports. Then Russia invades, and then instead of apologizing and correcting the story, you then
I didn't apologize and correct the story.
You justify the invasion.
Wait,
right?
I didn't apologize and correct the story.
Let me finish my.
Wait, hold on. No, this is important.
This is the pattern of behavior.
Because you said you. Wait. Hold on. You're the one who doesn't do his research, because I did apologize and I did correct the record. You just didn't fucking see it.
You kind of walked it back too.
Wait, no.
Hasan did say, well, I was wrong. And it said that it would be a 49 state landslide moment. I think sometimes it's downplayed, but he said it would be a 49 state landslide moment if the Russians actually bombed Kiev. So he had, according to Hasan's own definitions, a Tim Pool 49 state landslide, dramatically wrong, embarrassing moment, right? And he had to eat the cow dung over him, and he had to take the L over that. Yeah. But I don't think, when you say he justifying the invasion, he doesn't support the invasion. But when he talks about like justifying the annexation of Crimea or justifying the annexation of certain eastern Ukrainian regions through their Russian-speaking regions, that type of dialogue he has engaged in, or trying to talk about NATO expansionism provoking the Russians and comparing NATO military bases in Ukraine, comparing it to a Russian invasion of Ukraine, and what level is like more aggressive. What's the more aggressive act here? He has justified it in some ways, but he doesn't support it.
Very clearly apologize for it. You didn't see that because all you do is look at fucking clip sheets.
It's in the video.
He specifically said about Crimea that the annexation of Crimea was 100% a justifiable act. That's I believe that's a direct quote. I know he said it was a justifiable act. I forget if he said 100% justifiable, but he said it was a justifiable act.
In one of my videos.
So why did you just now bring it up as though I've never apologized?
Oh, this is so like Hasan. And then the worst part is when people call you out.
Why did you just bring that up as I never apologized?
It's out of context.
Why did you just say I never apologized for it when I did?
Right? You claim that's all out of context.
Why did you say I never?
Oh, damn! He did bring me up. He just claimed it was all out of context. There you go. There's a Dylan Burns reference. Dylan Burns reference in the wild. I wonder if he's going to respond to any of that.
Apologize. Why did you just say
because
I never apologized?
Justify more. You then make more outrageous claims.
I'm sorry. Why did you say I never apologized if I did, and you just repeated after I said no, I did apologize. You moved the goalpost. You moved the goalpost, and you tried to fucking act like I was just backtracking.
I didn't move the goalpost, dude. This is exactly my criticism.
You did. Stop saying this is exactly my criticism. Okay, but if your criticism is fucking stupid.
Your apology is in there.
Okay,
you just didn't watch it, so you're just making shit up right now. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm going off of what you're saying.
Because you didn't watch the video, because you don't research anything, which is the whole criticism.
Man, they went in. Man, Willy really went in like they're both. Willy is going in like hard right out of the gate. It feels like Willy was like off stream and he was like doing like a sprint in the corner, like, and like putting his like his finger to his neck, like feeling his pulse, like okay, and then right when the firing gun goes, boom, he just sets off into a sprint.
Watch a fucking stupid video that you made when I'm talking to you, because the video is about me. You said with your words that I didn't actually apologize.
You're saying
you said with your words
that I did. Is this what you're gonna talk?
I think I did hear Willy say he didn't apologize. Am I right? I do believe I did hear him say that. Willie was going in hard because Hasan was shit talking him for hours, waiting for him to join the debate. Is that true? I didn't see that part. Is that true? I should just believe. Chat told me, so it must be true. It's Twitch chat after all.
Talk over me when I'm giving you the answer.
No.
I'm giving you a very straightforward answer. I did do that.
Okay.
I did cover
so
your
you
apology.
said. So you said I.
Dylan say Willie is going in hard, so we can make it a clip. Okay, man, Willie is going in hard here. I didn't expect him to bring me up to Hasan directly. Damn. Happy Danabo. There you go. There's your marketable moment.
Did apologize, but it wasn't good enough for you. Is that what you're saying?
And I showed you apologizing for making your completely, like, fairly baseless claims, jumping to conclusions, and then you followed that up by making more baseless claims, jumping to conclusions.
Okay, go on. What are the baseless claims that I made that I jumped to conclusions on, even though you originally said I said that Russia would never invade Ukraine, which is true. I did say that because I did think that it would be an unimaginably stupid decision for Russia, okay, which I claimed would be impossible to occupy Ukraine, a country with 44 million people whose entire national independence movement has revolved around literally trying to escape from Russia for the most part, regardless of the Russian-speaking population in the Eastern Front, okay? Having said that,
I mean,
however,
this has nothing to do with
also,
what I said, though. This is all just random nonsense.
yeah, because you're a fuck.
I would stick if I was Willie, right? And Willie watched my video. I assume he watched my video. He include clips from it, so he must have watched it. Much more of it than Hasan did. I would stick to the disinformation. I would stick to Crimea. I would stick to the Kerch Bridge. I would stick to stuff like that. I would stick to the easy stuff, because that stuff is like that stuff is so simple, where we know what he said is wrong about the Kerch Bridge attack being a war crime. We know that Ukrainians have a massive problem with what he said about Crimea, the annexation of Crimea being justifiable. And I think that we could talk about the people who were displaced. I know that Rick the Ukrainian, somebody who was displaced from annexed Russian territory, brought that up in the video. I think sticking to that instead of the broad statements, or if you're going to make the broad statement of you don't do your research before you make statements, I do think that's true about Hasan, but then you got to start with like the strongest case possible. You got to start with you start with the stuff that's impossible to avoid for Hasan to deny.
Fucking scumlord drama farmer. Of course it doesn't have anything to do with anything, because the specifics don't matter to you.
The specifics do matter.
Well, if they do, then when I describe...
All right, here, I got another one. Let's do this one, too.
There's an entire YouTube video called I Was Wrong About Ukraine. Like, there's literally...
and in that same video, you make more claims about...
Like what?
If I remember, I mean, this is a year ago I made this video.
Go ahead.
I'm guessing
Like what?
You didn't watch that either.
Like what? Of course I didn't watch it.
So
why would I watch a fucking drama farmer who has no understanding of geopolitical conflict?
I will say, if Hasan was talking about Willie and talking shit about Willie before he came on, if he talked shit about Willie without watching his video before he came on, just knowing that Willie had criticized him, that is a beta thing to do. God, I miss watching the Jesse Lee Peterson show. That shit's funny. I gotta check in with him. I stopped checking in with him after that accusation about him being a closeted gay came out, and him doing stuff with people. That weirded me out too much. Is it just me, or is Hasan's background crooked? Am I going crazy here, or is his back, like his shelf, crooked? I can't stop looking at it. It must be like a perspective thing. Tilted? Yeah. There's a floor. Oh, the camera's tilted. But if the camera's tilted, wouldn't Hasan be? Because Hasan doesn't look tilted. It's just a shelf that looks tilted. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
You asked for this debate, and now you're all confused and butthurt that you're getting fucked up in it. Like, I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry. You fucking brainlet. Give me what the fucking inconsistency was. You made the video. You made the video. Give me the inconsistency or what you consider to be false information. Are you having a hard time without a script or without people fucking feeding you clips that you can post?
Pretty good, bro. Nobody's fed me anything.
Dude, you're killing it. You're killing it, dog.
Them.
Come on, go ahead. What's the second point? What is the lie that I told about Ukraine?
It's not a lie. It's just you made more claims. You made more bases.
Like what?
Claims.
What is
there are lines. The attack on the Kerch Bridge is a war crime. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a provable lie. There's no international law scholar that'll back it up. That's an easy, provable lie that Hasan told, and he said it with no knowledge on whether it was a war crime or not. The Ukrainians attacked the Kerch Bridge in the middle of the night. It's an identifiable, where it would have the least traffic, which I think is a reasonable control for civilian casualties. They attacked it knowing that it was one of the main logistical hubs for the Russians, and he claimed that because it was used also by civilians, that made it a not legitimate target, which is not at all what identifies a legitimate or not a legitimate target. Whether or not civilians have used a bridge for transportation or not does not mean that it cannot be a justifiable military target. If the military is using it and the Ukrainians can prove that it's to a military end and that they're taking reasonable controls for the protection of civilian casualties, then striking the Kerch Bridge is 100% within the bounds of international law and not a war crime. Definitely, since the Kerch Bridge was made illegally on occupied territory anyway.
I gotta go pull it up in the video because you didn't
prepare for your own fucking. You didn't prepare where you were literally coming on here to talk about not Israel Palestine, mind you, but about Ukraine, and you didn't even fucking prepare with talking points.
I'll talk
really
to you about Israel Palestine. That'll be the.
I am a little perplexed that Hasan is talking to Willie Mac of all people about Ukraine and not me about Ukraine when I was the one who made the big video of people, Ukrainians, critiquing him about the war in Ukraine, but he decided to talk to and I don't mean to be mean to Willie, but to the drama streamer, to the drama content creator, to the person who covers drama and internet conflict, instead of the person who has been focusing on the war for the last 2 years nonstop in the war zone. I do find that semi-interesting. I feel like, and I don't want to assume anyone's intentions, but it does feel a little bit like choosing your own battles.
The next point. It's you doing the same thing again. Well, dude, how do I feel you impromptu asked me to a debate Felix. This minute? If I had a day to prepare, I would have everything, but you didn't. You just completely you blew this whole
thing up. It's your video about me. These should be so simple for you to be like, this is where you lied. Just say it. We already established that the first thing you did was wrong.
All right, you got to give me a minute.
Okay. Are you trying to link me your video? I'm not going to watch your video. Just say it with your mouth, with your words. Go ahead.
I have to watch my video to see what my receipt is because this is a year old. Right? I didn't know I didn't know where this.
You don't even know your own video. You don't know the contents of your own fucking video.
I made it a year ago, bro.
You think you're doing a good job right now? Do you think you're doing a good job right now defending your position?
I will say that if you're going on the stream and you're going to talk to Hasan about these things, you should probably have these things ready. Whether Hasan said, come on stream right now, we'll talk about it. Even if that's the case, you should always make sure you got your receipts ready, because this type of moment is going to happen. And if you don't have them ready, then it's going to be shown as evidence that, see, I had a moment. I gave the critics a moment to talk to me and they couldn't critique me about Ukraine. See, I was right. And he should only go into one of these discussions with the links ready, with these types of things ready. Definitely when he knows he's going to be a contentious conversation with somebody that he doesn't like and doesn't like him. And is going to do everything possible to, if you slip up in the slightest, is going to grab that and he's going to hold on to it with a death grip,
It's such a profound position.
You're doing exactly
it's such a profound position that you don't even fucking remember your own talking points. Oh my Lord.
Dude, I'm trying to find your talking point.
I'm
trying to find your talking point.
I know. My talking points that you claim are wrong should be, in the chamber for you to fire off. You came on here because you thought.
Okay, right sector snipers. There's another one he can bring up. You said that you were talking about right sector snipers killing Euromaidan protesters. There is no evidence for that, and the only thing that alludes to that is unpeer-reviewed papers. Unpeer-reviewed papers that contradict with the physical evidence of the bullets that were identified to police guns used by the Berkut, the special Ukrainian forces, when he said it was the protesters who basically shot them fucking selves. Which, I gotta say, pretty controversial. Something that would cause a big backlash in Ukrainian society. And if I brought this up to Hasan on stream, I think there was a good chance that the situation we see right here, or if anyone was to bring this to Hasan on stream, I want to be clear. I don't need to be the person to bring this up to Hasan on stream. This is the reason why, part of the reason why I platform you guys. I want anyone to bring this up to Hasan. I want literally anyone to bring this up to Hasan. If this was to be brought up to Hasan, I think there's a decent chance at this moment of like, this is a year-old clip, he would say, this is almost 2 years old, the thing you're talking about when I said that about right sector snipers. And then we'd have to go clip hunting, as Willie is doing right now. Thankfully, I got all the clips because I prepared a document for that video. You know what? Just because Willie doesn't have it, and I do have it. 1 second. Let's right sec. You know what? I'll get it off screen while we watch the video. This video is very long, so I don't want to pause it for too long.
Let's have a conversation about these fucking videos that I've made.
Do instantly right now. Right when I was out.
Stop complaining. Give me the talking points. Come on.
No, look at
Stop.
you shift the goalpost around.
Stop complaining. Tell me what it was. Stop bitching. Tell me what it fucking was. You started the conversation by talking about Ukraine. Why did you bring up Ukraine if you weren't fucking ready to talk about it? Your first point that you brought up was that I never apologized for it. I debunked it within fucking seconds.
Listed out. And all the receipts right here, but you said get on now. Willie No Show.
Okay, go ahead. Come on, Willie No Show. Come on. What's the second talking point?
Yelling in my ear while I'm pulling up the receipt.
Willie No Show, give me the second talking point. If you're not this fucking passionate about the subject, then you're basically admitting that you're a fucking bottom-feeding drama.
Okay, here we go. If you want somebody passionate about the subject, I'll do it. I'll talk to him about it any time of the week. But I don't think he wants to.
The footage they're saying is from Russia Today, but it doesn't even f***ing matter. Okay? Yeah, here. This is the call from here. Ukraine crisis. Bugged call reveals conspiracy theory about Kyiv's snipers. The Estonian foreign minister Urmas Pate calls EU's Cathy Ashton about the claim that provocateurs were behind the Maidan killers. The 11-minute conversation was posted on YouTube. It is the second time in a month. The telephone calls between Western diplomats discussing Ukraine has been bugged. Okay.
So I looked at that article Hasan brought up. In it, the Estonian minister mentions a...
Okay, now this goes on for Loner Box just breaks it down. But somebody links an article in chat, bringing up this conspiracy theory. Hasan regurgitates it on stream, no critique whatsoever. Goes like, oh, okay. And then just keeps going. Just regurgitating disinformation about what's going on, what was happening during the protest. Just putting out this conspiracy theory, being like, oh, who knows? And then just keeps moving. That type of platforming, that type of review of conspiracy, that type of review of the Euromaidan, horribly irresponsible. Horribly irresponsible. You should be checking this stuff off screen or checking these claims off stream or saying like, hey, we don't know this, you know, this is complete bullshit, or we don't know this is true, or we have other sources that prove this. And that effort was not put in. Anyway, where were we? I just wanted to show that we do have links.
Farmer who has no interest in
like you're just gonna look retarded because I'm gonna pull it up in when I make my video.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Stop fucking complaining about it after the fact. Go ahead. I'm here. All right now. If you are genuinely interested in truth and research or whatever, you have this wonderful opportunity. You have this wonderful opportunity to ask me personally.
To pull it up. I'm trying to listen, but I'm hearing you twice. Once from my video and once from you just bitching in my ear.
Oh my god.
So you gotta wait. Yeah, that's how research
This is the greatest. This is the.
1 second. Let me play a little bit more of the clip.
He does say it's just an allegation, but he doesn't really hide the fact that it's an allegation he wants to believe.
So even when there is at least like intercepted phone calls that show, okay, intercepted phone calls that literally show that the
by the way, the information we had at the time, we had nothing at the time. At the point he was talking right here, that could show that right sector snipers were the ones that killed the Euromaidan protesters. We have nothing, absolutely nothing. This is less than nothing. What he's talking about right here, and there is plenty of physical evidence showing that the Ukrainians were killed by the special police forces. The bullets were identified to be from the guns from the cops. So are we saying that the right sector snipers stole the police guns after overpowering the police, then went to a position, then shot down the protesters, and then they were able to find cops and find them guilty of the, like, this is bizarre to me. This is bizarre to me. You're just entertaining this conspiracy theory for no good reason, even though the physical evidence is very heavy against it. This to me, and I know this is obviously a different scenario, but this feels like somebody being like bringing up like a, George Floyd fentanyl. Wow. I mean, that's kind of crazy. You know, he had some fentanyl in his system. I mean, like, that's pretty crazy, dog, that he had fentanyl in his system when, we have evidence that, even though people are saying, it was this other thing, but, you're just saying it without showing the large amount of physical evidence that George Floyd was murdered by the policeman, Derek Chauvin. Then you are not giving your audience a clear picture. The audience watching this stream are going to walk away with this thinking, wow, there seems to be like a really good case that the Ukrainians actually shot themselves, that that the protesters all killed themselves. Oh my God, that's crazy. Because Right Sector started as a Euromaidan street protest movement to fight back against the Berkut Special Police. So this is quite literally saying the protesters shot themselves.
Which, and the CIA involved, CIA trained right-wing operatives in Ukraine.
Dude, like, listen to this. Like, the CIA trained right-wing operatives. There's no evidence for any of this, dog. Nothing. And he's just spinning this yarn. He's just spinning it.
Could have perhaps engaged in such a...
Could have perhaps, man. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting, man. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Violent action.
Exited about the Area 51
okay.
Wake.
When there's a likelihood that is definitely a theory, okay?
What does that even mean?
A very realistic theory.
A very realistic theory. He didn't look at the evidence. He did not look at the evidence. If he would have looked at the evidence, he would have been like, oh, this is not a realistic theory. So this is an example of what Willie Mac here is talking about. This is Hasan jumping to conclusions.
Considering they had a lot to gain from this.
This is done a lot in conspiratorial thinking. When you lack physical evidence and when you lack things that actually directly tie your theory to what happened, instead it's looking for motivation. And so you just look for motivation. And this is the same thing that led to him, before any of the evidence had really come out, concluding about the Nord pipeline explosion and tying it to the Americans or the Ukrainians. I forget if he said it was the Ukrainians who did it or the Americans that did it specifically. I forget, and I'm not going to say which one because I don't know. I'm not going to jump to conclusions.
Considering the historical precedent of such actions.
Like, no.
Anyway, yeah. Like, I mean, come on. That's like horribly irresponsible. This would be like me, and I will make this comparison. Just reading the fentanyl would be like, oh, George Floyd, fentanyl in his system. There is evidence that there's a theory, and that's the only thing I show my audience. I don't show them the rest of. Come on.
Greatest brain power we got, folks.
You want
All right,
me to just move on from this?
all right. I'm muting myself. I'm muting myself. Go ahead, watch your video, and then you can come back. Okay. Holy moly, dude. Jeez, Lord mercy. I muted myself. He can't hear me, so we can find his own talking points in his own fucking videos. Jesus Christ, dude.
I didn't even get to any of my moderator questions.
I know. Every time Felix is here, we got to do a fucking... We have to have the conversations like this. It just has to happen. I love that he's like, I don't remember my talking points. I have to watch my own YouTube video.
Well, I was going to suggest like a new topic. I was going to like, if you don't want to watch the video, like Wall talking to him and he doesn't have the Google Doc. I was actually going to ask a series of questions about Amy Schumer.
Oh, no, it's no Amy Schumer. We can't do.
Okay, give me back to the actual conversation.
This is your take.
Okay, we're back to the conversation.
Your
WillyMacShow show.
was you said let me watch this one more time.
Bro,
it was in your video. It was
The silence hangs. The silence hangs, and it benefits Hasan.
in your video. I was wrong about Ukraine.
mm-hmm.
And you said people are acting like Kiev's getting bombed. Like that would never happen. And then it's literally did happen.
Okay.
So it's you just again making more you're making your apology video about being wrong and making baseless claims that you know nothing about.
This is your take.
Wrong. It's a pattern of behavior.
This is your take from February 22nd, 2022.
Yeah.
Another thing that I was
again. You've done it since then.
The invasion happened 2 days later. It was on February 24th. And so at that point, what Hasan was saying, now I did my research, okay? People say I took the clips out of context, but I actually did my fucking research because I try to consider myself some level of a journalist. A perverted war tourist, of course, but a journalist. Is at that point, Hasan was saying that the annexation of Donetsk and Luhansk and the moving of troops into Donetsk and Luhansk, and if some limited, quote-unquote, limited operation, which is what people were hypothesizing that it was going to be, and I think Hasan was probably, and I'm making assumptions here, but I assume since he didn't believe that the Russians would be dumb enough or hardcore nationalistic imperialist enough to do what we saw on February 24th, he probably thought maybe a limited operation in the Donbass. What he's talking about here is that the 49-state landslide moment, which is one of the quotes he references, would be if they bombed Kiev, if they marched on Kiev, instead of doing a limited operation to annex territory in the Donbass, which he already said he was wrong about because he considers that an invasion. There you go. There's the context, since nobody's playing the clips on the stream.
I've done it since then. People are acting like Kiev's getting bombed. It did happen. You're right about that.
I also,
do you think that I didn't cover? Wait, hold on. Do you think that I didn't cover Kiev getting bombed? Like I hid that or something?
No, you did, but it's your accusation saying it doesn't, saying it won't happen. There's no way it'll happen.
Yeah. Do you think that?
See, this is where WillyMac should go. WillyMac, instead of just saying, "Hey, you got this prediction wrong," which Hasan knows, everybody knows that Hasan got the prediction wrong. It was a Tim Pool 49-state landslide moment. It was pretty embarrassing for Hasan. I think a better thing to go down, and this is what we did with the Ukrainians on during our interview, is why did you say this? What about your thinking led him to come to this conclusion when we had so much evidence to the contrary that an invasion was possible? The thing that really made me scared about a Russian invasion, it made me think, oh shit, was when they moved the blood bags. Because the training operation does not require blood bags. Blood bags are only necessary when you're going to do an invasion, and they last for a certain period of time. And so for me, I was like, oh, would the Russians really waste blood bags just to make a statement here? That was when I went from, this is probably not going to happen, to, oh my God, this has a real chance of happening. But Hasan either didn't pay attention to that stuff or didn't take much note of that stuff. In my mind, because I believe he was just looking at U.S. intelligence assessments, and he doesn't trust the United States government. He doesn't trust the U.S. intel community, and so I think that's why he disregarded it. Again, I'm assuming things about Hasan's intentions here, but I haven't talked to him about this, so it's kind of hard not to.
Do you think that bombing Kyiv specifically, it was what Russia did? Do you think that that was a good thing for Russia to do?
I didn't say. Do you think that it was a thing? Do
you have any genuine opinions?
Don't think it was a good thing.
Do you have any genuine opinions about?
Yeah, my opinion
Russia's
is that was
involvement
bad.
in the Ukraine?
My opinion on that is that you shouldn't be talking about shit.
Brother,
you know
hold up.
God, he should just say, of course, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is bad. That's all Willie needs to say, and then move on to the next point.
We're having a conversation about Ukraine and Russia. We're having a conversation about Ukraine and Russia, and I'm asking you a specific question. I'm asking you a specific question.
My conversation's about you, because my videos are about you and your paranoid behavior and your poor reporting, and now you're trying to shift it all these other ways because you know you can't face the truth.
Russia had not bombed Kiev at the time. That's number one. Number two, of course, as soon as that did happen, I covered it. Of course I did, because that's what I'm doing.
The criticism isn't that you didn't cover it. The criticism is that you're making baseless claims you don't know anything about, talking so confidently, as if you got a whole fucking research team behind you, when you don't. You're talking out your ass. This is the
brother. Do you have a whole?
He's got to bring up something that Hasan said confidently that he was wrong about, outside of getting the prediction wrong. Because the problem is ultimately, though, with Hasan, is that a lot of people got the prediction wrong. Even some experts got the prediction wrong. The difference with Hasan, though, there is a key difference, where Hasan was just completely disregarding the notion, where experts in the field were saying, well, I mean, this does look pretty scary, but the odds are still against it. Which is even what I said at the end. I'm not an expert in the field, mind you. I've not been doing this for years upon years upon years. I said 55% chance they don't invade, 45% chance they do, right? Which is giving a lot more credence to the idea of an invasion than Hasan did. Hasan just basically completely disregarded it and laughed about it the whole way, right? Like, I don't know if you guys saw those TikToks of him flipping back his hair. God, you know what? Is it worth it actually watching how he talked about it leading into it? I think it might be useful. I think instead of talking about the clips, it would make more sense to just watch the clips. Let's see. Where's my Hasan interview questions? Here we... Nope, that's the edit document. Where's my Hasan interview sources? Here we are. Here's a good combination. This is a good streamable clip of all the predictions and stuff. I also can't get over the fact that Hasan put Vladimir Putin is bad at the top of stream, just to remind people. Just to remind people, in case you got confused.
What's up, folks? I'm live and alive, and we got a lot to talk about. I was right about Ukraine. That's right. War is not imminent. Oh, shocked to find out. Anyway, we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff, so get in now. Possibly a new React series as well, so.
Like, this is something that'll probably follow Hasan forever. Like, this is a prediction that will probably follow Hasan forever. And in large part, not just because he got it wrong, but because he was so egotistical about it the whole time.
You don't want to miss it.
I think maybe I'll tell my editors to do this, but I think I'll just change, like, I'll change this every day to Ukraine has still not been invaded by Russia every day to make sure that the wishes of these fucking weirdo, like, I'm actually a sock them and you're a fucking tanky idiots on the internet.
This is something that was talked about by the Ukrainians in the interview video, but one of the points that Anna brought up is that it feels like he was looking at people who are saying it's not that we want it to happen, is that we're terrified that it's going to happen, that we see the warning signs that it's going to happen, that Hasan disregarded those warning signs. Even though people were trying to get his attention with some of the warning signs.
Will, yeah, change it to Russia still has yet to invade Ukraine. And it's like day 11 at this point, you know what I mean? And time again that I don't think there is war that is going to happen because it would fucking destroy Russia. And I still believe that. I still believe that. Okay? You care more about being like, yo, Hasanabi, you were fucking wrong. I hope you all get drafted, dude.
Wait, hey. Oh.
I hope you get fucking drafted.
Anyway, this whole stuff is just all of it. It's all of this stuff. I mean, I don't know if we need to play it all again.
However, Eastern...
Oh, here we go. This clip's great.
Territory religion voted in favor. Ukrainians to fucking die.
You are a bottom.
Okay? But you can't. What's wrong with NATO expansion if majority population voted in favor? Would that mean NATO expansion is justified? In that circumstance, NATO is 1000% an aggressor outside fucking force. Okay? Russia is not. Russia annexing its own fucking territory that it's had, that its own territory full of its own fucking people.
Now, this is the clip that I think Hasan, because I posted this in part of the ad, that he thinks that I used out of context. But this is from February 21st. This is after their, they started to annex Donetsk, annex Luhansk. This is, when Russian troops are well on their way to moving into the region to actually begin the operation. Probably a good chance Putin's already given the order at this point. And he is, at this point, it seems like saying, well, not it seems like, you just hear it. I shouldn't speak for him. You just listen to him.
Okay? But you can't. What's wrong with NATO expansion if majority population voted in favor? Would that mean NATO expansion is justified? In that circumstance, NATO is 1000% an aggressor outside fucking force. Okay? Russia is not. Russia annexing its own fucking territory that it's had, that its own territory full of its own fucking people is not the same as NATO being like, we're going to turn your country into a fucking base and put literal fucking military bases and rockets into your country.
I mean, he's clearly implying that Russia annexing, quote unquote, its own territories full of its quote unquote, its own people. So we're talking about, we're just kind of like wiping Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, their own people, their own territory, despite the 50% of the population that has left Crimea that fled because of the conquering from Russia, but 50% of the people that left, it was the Donbass, it was 50%. The hundreds of thousands that left Crimea because of the Russian conquests, own people, own territory, and in a way is saying that it's less it's less provocative for them to do that than for Ukraine to join NATO, even if the majority of its people want to join NATO for its own self-defense. That would be more aggressive. That would be the aggressor outside force.
Throw the question marks all you want. I don't give a fuck about the Ukrainian constitution.
In that case, would that mean in order to stop being the aggressor, NATO has to pull back from Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania? Because wouldn't that mean, since they're up on Russia's border, that would make those states acting as aggressor states towards Russia, even though they joined for their own defense, because they know that if they don't have that, that they're going to be a much easier country to invade than Ukraine, because their population size is much smaller, and Russia's ideology, the state ideology, Putin's ideology, does believe that Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania has as much right to exist as Ukraine does, as a post-Soviet state. So it's just this logic. Not only do I disagree with, not only do I think Hasan is just wrong on the aggressor side of NATO, I think the logic would end with more invasions like Ukraine happening if we were to apply that logic and say, okay, we need to pull back. We need to pull back because NATO's the aggressor by having member states like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania.
I don't give a fuck about the Ukrainian border sovereignty that some of you dumbasses are fucking talking about like you're like a 3%er, but for
I don't give a fuck about Ukrainian border sovereignty.
For Ukraine, okay? It's so stupid. Crimea is not the same as Kiev, however. Crimea is not the same as the rest of Ukraine, however. Eastern Ukrainian territories have a lot of fucking Russian people living in them because Ukraine, and just like Crimea and much of the rest of the fucking country, was a part of Russia, was a part of the USSR until not that long ago, okay?
This is justification. Now, he can say he's still not in favor of it, but he's trying to give justifications for why Russia did it.
Okay? People's parents were alive back then. So obviously, there's a lot of fucking Russian people living there. So if you have...
Anyway. And he said the annexation of Crimea was a justifiable act, so...
Research team behind you because
it's
you're not
me. I actually did research just now, and you could barely be patient enough to sit there and listen through it. You had to go ahead and
it's a video. You made a video a year ago about me talking about my opinion on Russia and Ukraine. You personally do not have an opinion on Russia or Ukraine at all. I have taken accountability on I've taken accountability on the things that I've reported wrong.
You should do the research. If I'm not willing to talk
I have taken accountability on the things that I have reported wrong on.
Wars. When you can't do the
Willie No Script, listen to me. I've taken accountability on the things that I have said that are incorrect.
No, he hasn't. That's just a lie. If he has, I want to hear him talk about the right sector Cyprus and say, look, I aired that theory on my stream. That was baseless. It was wrong for me to air that theory. On the Kerch Bridge attack, that wasn't a war crime. It is 100% within international law to target bridges that are supplying the Russian army, especially those made in occupied territory. He can say, it seems that the Boris Johnson story that I've repeated time and time again, not only with Marianne Williamson, but also on the Leftover podcast with Hasan, with Ethan Klein, it seems like there's more to that story than meets the eye than what I implied at the time. There's the idea that Boris Johnson sunk it, which is not true, and we have very little backing that up. It's just, he hasn't. He's admitted to the fact that he was wrong about Russia not invading Ukraine. That's it.
Of course, on the editorial perspective, on the editorial side of my coverage, okay, on the editorial side of my coverage, if I make a prediction or a speculation, it can sometimes be wrong. That speculation is always going to be on foundational analysis that is solid.
I got another one too. Hey, I got just more examples.
Do you have an issue with do you have an issue with my analysis of the situation? Because I can't possibly do research on things that haven't happened yet. I can simply speculate.
You just make it up.
And this entire do you think when I say, guys, I don't think that Russia will bomb Kyiv is actually in your opinion, like me making up something, or do you think it's speculation?
No, the clip is actually you talking really condescendingly about people who think that could happen. That's the clip.
Okay, but
that is true. Hasan was very high and mighty, had a high horse shoved far up his ass. That was true.
Yeah, okay. You don't. So is this all just tone policing? Is that what it is?
You're talking about.
Is this all? So all of this is just you personally tone policing the way I'm covering
No, it's
the
not
fucking
tone
news?
policing. It's about your.
Do you have
poor
any
reporting.
genuine interest or any curiosity in like Russia and Ukraine at all, or is all you do fucking draw?
I feel it kind of gets under my skin that Hasan could talk to Ukrainians about the problems that they have. There's 100% Ukrainians that have made aware that his coverage has been garbo. He could listen to them, or I do it. I think anyone that's probably covered the war or knows, has been on the ground in Ukraine, I think a lot of people would come on and talk to him about it. And instead, and I mean, I don't mean to be mean to Willie, we get the fucking WillyMacShow, which is, I mean, I don't think WillyMac has been involved in much war coverage or war reporting, or is from Ukraine, or his background in the country. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that Hasan could easily talk to somebody with more knowledge, who could better articulate the critiques of his content. And it's the WillyMacShow. It's the WillyMacShow.
Trauma farming off of clips, because over the course of this entire conflict, I've dedicated tens or hundreds of hours into my coverage, and the analysis in and of itself comes from a solid foundation. Now, the predictions might be wrong, and it certainly was, which is something that I took accountability for, even though you said I had not. So here's my question to you.
Didn't. You then just did the same mistake again. You did the same criticism again.
Did you look into, okay, what sources I was looking at and where I was getting this opinion from?
Yeah, there were sources
beyond just like looking at YouTube clips and regurgitating talking points, specifically that you've heard from other like neoliberal commentators and whatsoever. Neoliberal commentators is the same fucking 5 clips that you are going to present here.
You think Destiny is secretly behind this? Is this what you're crying about right now? Is this why you keep saying random shit?
Does it sound like I'm
it does.
You
just said, yeah, it does. You're talking about stuff that doesn't matter.
Brother,
you're trying to shift the goalposts away from the criticism, which is your poor reporting. You bring me out to debate, you let me pick the debate topic, and now you won't engage. It's incredibly frustrating.
I am trying to engage with you. I'm trying to engage with you. I'm trying to engage with you in good faith as best as I possibly can. And all you've done so far is go through your YouTube video to be like, well, you said Kiev wasn't being bombed, and actually it wasn't at the time, but then it got bombed afterwards. Listen, let me finish. Okay, I'm going to mute you if you don't let me finish. Okay?
Go for it.
You said Kiev wasn't being bombed. At the time, it wasn't. Okay? And then you said, okay, well, guess what? Guess what, dude? Your tone was off. Okay, well, my tone was off. You don't like it, but you haven't.
It wasn't just that his prediction was wrong. It wasn't just that, and I don't know if I don't know if Willie's gonna get into this. It's not just that his prediction was wrong. It's not just that he was a prick while he was making the prediction. It's a problem about what he based his prediction off of, which was just a complete, number one, just saying like, oh, this is destroy Russia, and number two, just a disregard of U.S. intelligence. He didn't look at the other warning signs, which led to him making a bad prediction, which led to him not only not getting the prediction wrong, but basically almost like completely making it like a silly idea that the Russians would invade Ukraine, flipping his hair about it, etc. If he had looked at the other warning signs and did not completely disregard U.S. intelligence, then he probably would have at the very least said, yeah, there's a possibility that Russia invades Ukraine. I mean, I think these IV packs full of blood on the border is very worrying. I think that the Russians going to positions, forward operating positions that they could use to invade the country along their interconnected highway system, I think these are all very scary warning signs. I think that the U.S. intelligence report, I don't know why America would just randomly say this if they know they're just going to be proven wrong in like a month. So I don't think we should completely disregard. Like, he did not consider the full range of the information. He did not consider all of the warning signs. And I am concerned that if something like this happens again, say about Taiwan, let's say there's an American intelligence report that comes out about China's about to invade Taiwan. China's about to invade Taiwan. And then the Chinese start putting blood bags on boats, and we get some more information coming out. And then we get a statement from Hasan like, man, China's not going to invade Taiwan, you dumb U.S. What's going to stop Hasan from making the same mistake again? That's my question.
brought up, or I was being condescending.
It's
you
actually
haven't
your
brought up
reporting.
the actual research or the actual analysis that led to these conclusions. Part of the reason why you haven't done that is because you have no idea what these sources are.
Since you're just talking in circles on this, can I just go to the next one?
I'm not talking in circles on this
You are.
whatsoever, but go ahead. Let's talk about the next point.
The next one.
But for the record, I am not clairvoyant. I cannot predict the future. I cannot predict the future.
No, I
So
know.
I just want to point that out.
But it's you talking on breaking news, like you know what the fuck's gonna happen, and you don't. You're talking completely out of line. So,
Wait,
all right,
wait,
the
wait,
missile hit-
hold up.
Can I just go to the next point?
Hold up. My speculation on what may happen, okay, in the future is not always going to be correct. Everybody understands this.
Usually wrong. Yeah.
But it's not just a question about speculating, and sometimes you get predictions wrong, right? It's a question of like, what did you base the speculation off of? And I think he based it off of he said he based it off of a good foundation. I think he based it off of a poor foundation. I don't think it's wrong to have said, or even would be horribly wrong to say that I don't think the Russians are going to invade, right? But the way he treated it was with complete disregard. He disregarded the idea. He treated it like it was a joke. He treated it like it was a joke that Russia was going to invade Ukraine. And that's why it rubbed Ukrainians and other people online, just the general, I guess, internet public, I don't know, like it rubbed them the wrong way.
Usually wrong. The only
It's
example
wrong a
you
lot.
brought
You
over.
said the CIA is why Iran bombed the U.S. base, bro.
Do you know
Like,
how
you
many?
said
Do
the
you
only
know
reason
how
the
many hours?
Protesters are
Do you
taking
know
down
how many
pictures of
hours?
Israelis is because it's a psyop to make Palestinians look bad.
Wait, hold
Okay, so they're moving off of Ukraine. Man, is that really all we got on the Ukraine subject? God, man. I wish Willie used a few of the other points. I wish we used a few of the points that we whatever. I understand there's a lot of things he probably wants to talk about. My thing's very tiny. I'm very passionate about Ukraine. Obviously, I spend time here. My friends are here. I would say that I love a lot of the people here. Man, I just wish someday somebody that knows about the war will be able to bring these points to Hasan. Not even necessarily like wreck and embarrass Hasan. I just want to make sure he doesn't say this shit again. I just want to make sure that the audiences that heard that get some form of correction, even though many of them probably won't even hear the correction, which is often true about corrections issued by either news companies, or I would also apply that to streamers. Like the big bold statement at the start of the war when everybody's watching, waiting to see if Russia's going to invade, then 2 years later, correction issued. Like it's not going to have a gigantic impact, but it'd be something. It'd be something that we could point to see there's an acknowledgement that this statement was wrong about right sector statement, Cyprus. There's an acknowledgement about the Kerch Bridge. There's an acknowledgement about CIA involvement in Euromaidan. There's an acknowledgement, like that would be very nice.
Hold on. What base are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about with this.
Dylan, you don't sound genuine. Okay, 1 second. Let me put on my genuine voice. Okay, I put it on.
The Iranian thing. What?
Iran struck a U.S. base.
Iran.
And then you said it's the CIA. No shot. It's the CIA. Complete because you were like, oh, there's a nuclear deal. Why would Iran do that? No way. No shot. 100% confidence. Iran then takes credit for it, and then you cope, mauled, and seethe to your audience.
Wait, I'm so.
I know you don't know because you spew so much bullshit all the time. You can't even remember.
Wait. God, I wish, and this is the problem people have. You got to let silence hang. See, by Willie going off and doing the research, whether or not it was the right thing to do, the silence hung. And so people stood there, and for every minute that passed, it was like, man, it's taking some time to get that stuff. Man, maybe he really doesn't have anything. Huh? And if you bring a point to someone and the silence just hangs, then they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, boom, after you send that, you send them the clip. That's good. That's perfect. A lot of times, less is more. It's not only more polite, which, be polite, always be nice, make sugar your favorite spice. But it also, I think, the silence. I think people don't appreciate the silence. It's a good tool.
Perhaps the reason for why you are maybe the reason why I'm confused and the reason why you're a little bit confused on this is because in every single circumstance, that every single thing that you've brought up, there's almost always a correction that comes after the fact. You, on the other hand, do not see the correction, or you, on the other hand, see the 30 second to 2 minute videos, which is enough for you to try.
Wait, whether or not somebody issued a correction doesn't mean that Willie Mac is wrong. You can issue a correction after saying things wrong over and over and over again. If every stream I said something like, man, I heard Hasan like skinned a cat alive, and has his entire room covered in cat pelts. And I said something like that, and then I was like a few hours later, like, oh, that's not true, actually, never mind. But then the next day I said another thing like that, and another thing, and another thing. Like at a certain point, whether or not I'm issuing a correction, it's a pattern of behavior showing that there's a disregard for fact-checking processes, whether we're talking about people, political movements, or those that I am not looking favorable upon.
And develop a consistent
This
narrative.
is from your whole live stream, by the way. I'm watching everything in context. This is cope from you saying that this is out of context. It's the same shit Andrew Tate does and the Red Pillars do to me, claiming everything's out of context when it's not. That was your opinion at the time. You said those words. They came out of your own mouth. Go do the research.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something really quickly? Okay. One. This is important for you to comprehend.
I'm sure.
Do you think that over the course of thousands of hours of coverage, okay, thousands of hours of coverage, especially when something is like being immediately brought to my attention, okay, immediately brought to my attention, which I don't even know what you're talking about, but
yeah, I know. Really, I don't
exactly.
It would be really good if there was a link that they could review together of Hasan making a statement about this bombing, and then that would be good.
I don't remember what you're talking about, but over the course of thousands of hours of coverage, when I, for example, read something in the chat and respond to it, okay, do you think that this is like reporting, or do you think that I'm giving like immediate commentary?
Breaking news you cover. This isn't a random chat comment. This is breaking news that's happening.
I will say that obviously as a streamer, if like a breaking news, like let's say that there was a major terrorist attack in the United States, some 9/11 type event, and like obviously if that's going on during stream, people are going to be like, Dylan, or any streamer that covers news and politics, you see what's going on in Montana at the Montana's 9/11 or whatever. And I'd go and I'd look and I'd be like, oh my gosh, whoa, what is going on? And there's going to be a certain amount of like unknown as we're talking about that breaking news. But as it's going on, I think there has to be two principles that you abide by. You have to go one of two paths if you want to be responsible. You either A, you don't cover it, period, which is the safest path, because you wait until all the facts are on the ground, which is something that I often do with police shootings, and it's something I often do with just certain news events, because I want to wait until all the news develops so I can have a clearest like timeline, because we've seen so many times breaking news, everybody gets in their trenches in their predestined political position. It was a police shooting, so the cop was wrong, before we seen any of the evidence. Or on the other side, that thug needed to go, that was in the fan. And then you got on the other side people in their trenches, and then before you know it, the facts of the case come out, and it could completely change the dynamics of whether it was justifiable or not justifiable. So you just wait. I mean, the idea that every single police shooting that hits the headlines is going to be unjustifiable, or every single police shooting that hits the police line is going to be justifiable, that's ridiculous. So you have to wait. You know, it's not just the world is not just going to fit itself into your predestined political position on what is most beneficial to you. Now, that's the first path. The second path is everything needs to have a million different asterisks. Everything you say, like, this is developing, we're getting reports of, this is developing, we don't know if this is true, we're still waiting to see updates, but we're getting reports from this, it's from this headline, from this news network, it seems multiple outlets are covering it, so there seems to be some credibility to it, but we do not know. There needs to be a million asterisks, a million, like, and even that, you're still playing a dangerous game. That has to be something you do. Which he didn't really do, or he didn't do efficiently for example, the right sector thing, which he just kind of threw up on screen, read it out loud, started talking about CIA involvement, and then moved on for it never to be mentioned again. Or like, for example, the hospital bombing, or for example, his talking about Nordstrom, or any other number of news events that he's covered in this way.
Okay.
I think what most
understand
people,
that.
you should do what most people do and
What
wait
is-
for the story to be out there before you start spurging out,
Okay.
making wild accusations. Here, can I go to the next one?
You need to limit your, TOS worthy takes here. This isn't fucking YouTube
What is,
or
what
whatever.
is my
whatever you're talking
what
about.
TOS did I break?
You can't say Spurg. I don't. Why can you? I don't know if you can, but I don't know if you should.
You can't.
It's his stream. He can dictate that.
You unfortunately, I know, and I used to do this in the past as well. You can't use ableist language, but go on.
Oh, like the R word. I got you. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad that you're
So,
a fan, though.
I said Nordstrom earlier, didn't I? I meant Nordstrom. Yeah, the Zelensky's Nordstrom scandal. He bought them out with all the aid money. He bought all the clothing. He's fly, man. You would think he wouldn't have bought it all, considering he always wears the same outfit. But yeah, no.
Oh yeah, I don't. You know, this
watching.
is your job. I don't want to
Okay.
ruin that. So, for instance, like the missile hit the Gaza hospital, both sides blamed each other. That's the breaking news, right? And
Yeah.
instead of waiting for more information, you jump to conclusions saying it was 100% Israel. 100%.
Okay.
You were so
Good
confident.
point.
You're, like, demeaning all the
Good
chatters.
point. Good point. Can I ask you a
Can I
question?
go through the whole thing before you go?
No. Hold
Before
on.
we
This
get
is
off
important.
topic
This is
and derail.
important. I have a no. We're not jumping. We're talking about this. Okay. We're
Okay.
talking about this specific thing. Finally, now we're talking about Israel and Palestine. When I said that, I didn't just go, "Oh, I have no other opinion on this matter. I simply think Israel definitely did this because I want Israel to have definitely done this."
He's going to base it off of a pattern of behavior from Israel bombing other hospitals in the past, or Israel bombing other places that had civilians in them in the past. For example, I mean, I don't know if this was before. I think this was after the bombing. And I use this as an example because I think sometimes the church bombing has become like a red herring. But I think the Greek Orthodox Church bombing is an example of that. And that's something that the IDF confirmed. It's not even in dispute. That's why I use it, is because it's not in dispute.
Is the reason why I said this, and you do this regularly, okay? When I say something on this stream, okay, oftentimes, especially if it's
Did
a
you watch the
developing
video?
story,
Like, how do you know I say this stuff?
especially if it's a developing story, when I say something on an issue that is happening, I look to all of the circumstantial evidence on the matter, and I look to everything else that is going on thus far. Now, we're two adult individuals here. Do you think it is unfair to say Israel blew up the hospital, like Israel bombed the hospital?
I think when there's a claim like that, you wait for information, right? I mean,
I think what, honestly, if someone was to say something like, this looks like it could be an Israeli bombing on the hospital, that would be like a statement I think would be at least responsible enough if you clarified later as more information came out.
there's a
Okay.
million things
The
to
information is that
For example, like the Novakakovka Dam explosion. Now, in my soul, in my deepest parts of my soul, do I believe the Russians blew that dam up? Absolutely. It was a humanitarian catastrophe when we went down there. It was absolutely awful what they were doing. And what further reinforces that in my mind is that we went down there to film evacuation efforts, and the Russians bomb aid workers, and the Russians bomb civilians. Watching people, homeless people walking down the road with giant gashes in their head. You can see their skulls. You can see his skull, one of those homeless people I saw, because the Russians just randomly bombing the city center throughout different periods of the day. And I'm supposed to believe that, oh no, Russia blowing up the Novakakovka Dam is not believable, but that's not evidence. That's me looking at a pattern of behavior that the Russians have engaged in to say this is something that they'd 100% be willing to do. What we did get later as evidence was photographs. What we did get later of evidence did seem to point more and more when it comes to the physical evidence we have, like photographs of explosives on the Novakakovka Dam from Russian experts on Russian television saying that, hey, actually, it looks like if there was to be an explosion here, it'd probably have to be internal, inside the dam. And the dam is controlled by who? The Russians. So I would say that the majority of the evidence points towards the Russians doing that. Do I know that 100% positive? No, we don't have video evidence of it, but the evidence is overwhelming. And so I think that when we talk about these topics, you need to make sure that you're clarifying like the evidence. You need to clarify how strong the case is, and if you don't know yet, you need to be careful. And in my soul, I believe that the Russians blew up the Novakhovka Dam in my soul of souls, but I cannot say that with 100% certainty, even if the evidence does point to it pretty radically. And that's something where I want to be able to go on a rooftop and say, those bastards did it, because I think they did. But I got to be careful. I have to be responsible, even if I'm emotional about this conflict, because, you know, my friends are in Kherson. My friends have homes and family and lives in Kherson. According to the environmental minister of Ukraine, the ecological damage from that explosion is going to be devastating. Not to mention to the Ukraine shipping, and the damage it has done to Ukraine shipping industry. The thousands upon thousands. I think the environmental minister said 20,000 animals drowned. All the elderly and disabled people who drowned in their homes, and the biohazards their bodies created by floating down the river. Like, yeah, I do. And then who bombed the aid workers afterwards? Like, but I have to be responsible. I have to be responsible by coverage, even though I am in my soul, I believe that they did it, and I think the evidence points very clearly to who probably did it. I have to be accurate in my reporting. I have a responsibility to my viewers who have put some level of trust in me to try to guide them through this war.
The information is that there was.
Can I respond? There's a million things to criticize the IDF for that's right out there, right? You know this. I've seen you do it all day on stream. You get them on shit that they 100% deserve. But when there's something like that, and instead of waiting for reports, while the report is literally Israel and Hamas blame each other, right? You don't know what the story is. You don't know who did it or not. And you say 100%, they 100% did it. That's a huge disaster, bro. That's like
at that point, who do you think?
Yo, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna release the reaction to this video tomorrow, and I'm going to release my critique of Destiny on the UN vote on Israel-Palestine tomorrow. So we'll have perfect balance. Perfect balance. We must be an asteroid in the space. No orbit.
Blow up the hospital, like the hospital courtyard, rather. Who do you think bombed the hospital courtyard?
I think most investigations point towards it being either the Islamic Jihad or Hamas, right? It's like a misfired rocket. And then what you did in response to that was, instead of being like, yeah, I think since most of the reports are going this way.
Why do you think it's wait, hold on. Why do you think it's Hamas or Islamic Jihad and a rocket misfire?
Well, that was just what most of the investigations turned out.
So
I know Channel 4 had a different one.
Because you're bringing this up, and this is really important to understand. One, all of the circumstantial
you say that
evidence
every time, but it never is.
Okay, all of the circumstantial evidence at the time, of course, after the 6,000 bombs that Israel had dropped on Gaza, a densely populated open-air prison, the 6,001st bomb, understandably, was going to be an Israeli bomb. To this day, we still...
Also, I saw somebody just DM me like more evidence about the Novakhovka Dam, and they're sending me like intercepted phone calls. But those intercepted phone calls were gotten by the Ukrainians, and I'm not saying they're fake. I'm just saying if the evidence, I want to start with the strongest evidence, and I think it's the photographs, and I think it's of Russia's own experts saying that it would probably have to be done from inside the dam, and that really caught the TV host off guard when that was said, and they moved on very quickly. It's like it's almost like he somehow seeped through the cracks on the Russian TV. I know there's the seismic data, but again, like the intercepted phone calls, I think are the weakest evidence because, yeah, I mean they say in the intercepted phone call that they did it, but again, it's provided by Ukrainian military intelligence, and I would not use Ukrainian military intelligence as my primary source for if Russia did something or not. Even though I still think it can be used as a source, but only as one puzzle piece for a picture. You can't use it in that alone.
Do not know whether this
that is how we found out about the 21 Flower stuff, though, is through the intercepted phone calls. God, I hate talking about this, but well, I brought it up. I can't say I hate talking about it when I also brought it up. The 21 Flowers thing was a intercepted phone call that Ukraine's military intelligence got about a Russian describing the torture tactics that they used on detained prisoners. And we know that the Russians torture people. And obviously, if you're torturing people, you have to have strategies on how to torture. There's a lot of mentions of Russia torturing people, not a lot of mentions of how they do it. The 21 Flowers thing is that the 21 Flowers is 10 fingers, 10 toes, and your cock. And what they do is they cut the skin at the tip of your fingers and at the tip of your toes and at the tip of your penis, and then they peel it back in a way to make it look like there's flowers at the tips. That's 21 flowers. So sometimes, like that, for example, I think it's useful because how else are you going to get the strategies or get any evidence of how the Russians engage in torture when we know they engage in torture? The Russians are kind of open about the fact that they engage in torture. They have uploaded videos of themselves sledgehammering their own soldiers. They're not that, reserved about the fact.
Was an Islamic Jihad rocket that was misfired, or whether or not this was actually an artillery shell that might have hit a fuel tank, or even some other kind of munition that Israel may have deployed.
So why did you say it was
now, the reason why
Israel and then call everyone genocidal freaks that disagreed with you?
You don't actually watch the content beyond
demonize them.
Because first of all, because they
Just
are.
like you do every time,
because the
by
Israeli
way.
government
You
is
do this all the
genocidal. What the
time.
fuck are you
This is
talking
your-
about, you dumb
this is your
fuck?
fucking thing.
4,500 children have been ruthlessly
Oh, now
slaughtered. You
shift
think
the
that's not
topic again.
genocidal?
Yeah, shift the topic again
Oh,
to
the
something
one
I didn't
hospital
even
might.
say.
Wait, Willie, shut the fuck up and listen, dumbass.
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
really
no, go
think?
on, do it.
Do you really think that if one fucking hospital wasn't bombed by Israel and this was a fucking actual misfire, that all of a sudden means that like? Well, that all of a sudden means that like Israel's not doing ethnic cleansing
right now. You're doing it in real time.
Well, whether or not Israel's engaged in a brutal bombing campaign doesn't prove that they're engaged in ethnic cleansing either. You'd have to prove that separately. You need more evidence than just that they bomb people.
Dude, just
like if we for example, I think the think tank piece from one of Benjamin Netanyahu's former appointees saying expel the Palestinians, we have a rare opportunity to reoccupy the Gaza Strip and expel the Palestinians. That is an advocacy for ethnic cleansing. That is a warning sign. That is a warning signal that scares me. That would be ethnic cleansing. But that's also a policy paper by a think tank, not a government statement. Something like that would be evidence of ethnic cleansing. Aggressive bombing is not evidence of ethnic cleansing. For example, Russians have brutally bombed Ukraine. That in and of itself is not evidence of ethnic cleansing. The Russian President Vladimir Putin signing an executive order that can take away the property rights of people in occupied territory, and then they take that property and give it to settlers after everybody runs away. Now, that, and you're seeing the burning of books, Ukrainian books, the destruction of Ukrainian culture in occupied territory. You're putting all these pieces together. Now you're making a case for ethnic cleansing. Making a case for ethnic cleansing there. And that you could argue that, I think, more assertively in the West Bank, for example, until we know what exactly the Israeli government's policy in the Gaza Strip is, which we don't know, which is scary. And I think that might be part of the point of them not being that forthright with exactly what the follow-up plan is. It's been, and we've gotten some details. We know that Joe Biden has pressured them in some directions, but it's generally just been plan, eradicate Hamas, and then figure it out after.
fucking answer my question. Do you think that the ethnic cleansing campaign, if you take out the bombing, okay?
Yeah.
If you take out the one time that this hospital's bombed, okay? If you take that out, do you think out of the equation, do you think Israel is all of a sudden not doing ethnic cleansing in Gaza?
No, that's not what I said. This is what you're trying to
I'm
make me
asking
say.
you. I'm asking you. Okay, then
I just said no. And
okay, good.
Dude,
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Okay,
so what's your
reports? And,
okay?
and
Got it. No. Got it.
Look at the reports.
Got it.
And you
Willie.
go ahead and they side with it. You can continue to call them genocidal, even though that's the fact of the info. That's what most of the info says.
When I cover these kinds of
ignore the
stories,
news, bro. That's the point. You just like lie and come up with your own
I don't
shit.
ignore the news. You ignore the rest of the fucking coverage, because on the day of the hospital bombing, I personally said, okay, that the highest likelihood of this hospital being bombed is from
No, you also
Israel.
said it was 100%.
Just shut the fuck up and
That's what
listen,
you did,
okay?
bro.
Shut up
No,
and
keep
listen.
shifting.
Did Hasan use the word 100%? because that's pretty. He said that. The word 100% is, I mean, that's saying without a shadow of a doubt. And then if it ended up not being true, I mean, you know.
In the goalpost. Keep
Listen, I'm not shifting the fucking goal.
I mean, even if it was true, even if we find out, because we still don't know, the Israeli military did bomb that hospital, saying at that point that we know that it was them 100% would still be irresponsible because you didn't know it at the time. And you were making assertions about information that you did not have. Logan, T090909. Thank you so much for the prime. Nice name.
Goalpost, it's my own coverage. I'm giving you additional feedback. If you actually genuinely cared about the truth instead of fucking clip chimping and drama farming, you would understand that on that same day, on that same day, over and over again, I said the highest probability of this is that this is an Israeli bombing campaign. Part of the reason why I said that,
you also said that,
and I also mentioned multiple.
West Bank is not genocide. I don't want to debate this right now. This debate's too long already. But the Nakba was ethnic cleansing. The Nakba was ethnic cleansing, and behavior like that is ethnic cleansing. And that's what I'll say on the topic. Let's keep.
After the investigation,
I also mentioned
the investigations don't agree with you.
I also mentioned multiple times. I also mentioned multiple times.
We just again ignore what I said.
Dude, just listen to what I'm saying.
Well,
I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't correspond. No, it's not irrelevant because you're making a video. You're making a video to massage a certain narrative, to create a certain narrative.
It's a true narrative.
Okay, 1 second. Let me read this. Israel is murdering children and their family and bombing the only place Palestinians are located. That is a genocide. Well then, wouldn't that mean like any invasion with war where you're invading any national group? That is genocide. Wouldn't it mean any bombing campaign would be genocide? I mean, that's just a very weird standard for genocide. Okay, we're gonna keep moving.
It's like
if you're gonna make the case of genocide, just make it outside of just the bomb. The bombing in and of itself is not a genocidal act. It can be part of a genocidal act. It can be part of genocide, but the bombing in itself is not a genocidal act.
Create a certain narrative,
right.
and that
it's so horrible. It's still horrific. You don't need to use the word genocide for it to be horrific.
Narrative when it doesn't correspond to the narrative you're trying to make.
Telling it to your face.
When it doesn't correspond to the narrative you're trying to make, you go, "Oh, it's irrelevant." Of course, it's not irrelevant. Do you think that my coverage of this bombing is irrelevant? Why are you fucking making a video about a 30-second sliver of the content if you don't actually?
You jump to conclusions, and now you're saying, "Yeah, I did," but like, look at this 1.8 hours in.
Willie, it's not 8 hours in. It's not 8 hours in. It's not 8 hours in. It is not 8 hours in. What will it take for you to go, okay, you know what? I was actually wrong. He actually had a much more even-handed approach to the subject matter. Or have you already made your preconceived...
I mean, if he said 100%, that's not even-handed. I don't remember if he used the word 100%. Does anybody know if he used the word 100%? Because Willie is saying that, but I know that he said it was the Israelis. I don't remember if he used the word 100%, but Willie is saying that. And if that's true, Willie should stick to that, because that's... I think his strongest point. He did. He absolutely did. He did. Well, if Twitch chat said it, therefore it's true. That works.
Biases, and you're simply looking to reinforce them.
The facts of what happened, and you have yet to disprove it. If my criticism is...
I said on the day of the bombing...
If I remember correctly, he said 99%, then later 100%. The next stream, he lowered it to 60 to 40. My God. Dude, that has less... stability and percentages. That those numbers have less stability than like Nate Silver electoral predictions. My God, 99%, 100%, 60%. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's all over the place. Again, I would have to look at the clip to know for sure, though. He got pressed by chat and said most likely. Then he went back to 100%. Okay, well. Kind of all over the place. But I mean, yeah, it's a developing story, and as more news develops, your perspective changes. That's why you wait.
Willie,
what have you done to disprove that? You jump
I said
into conclusions.
on the day of the bombing, of the bombing, I said...
Yes, like the most hilarious part. Like, it's the day, this is breaking news, and you jump to the conclusion that's 100%.
You're right. After 6,000 bombs, the 6,001st bomb, I should have been like, guys, hold on. Let's not
You
talk
just
about
call
this.
everybody genocidal.
Shut the fuck up and
That's
listen.
what you do.
Shut up and listen, dumbass.
Go on.
Listen.
Oh, go on.
Okay, thank you. Holy fuck. You're just simply proving how bad faith you are and you don't give a shit.
I'm not.
Yes,
You're
I'm covering
not
the fucking
engaging.
news.
You don't
yes,
engage.
I'm covering the news. In America, when we have like
bad way.
mass shootings and whatnot happening, I have a policy of usually not diving headfirst into that news coverage because
That's not
it is
true at
not
all.
the
You
same
titled
as
your
the
shit then.
consistent war coverage. The only reason why I usually talk about whatever kind of breaking story is happening, this is not the same for Israel and it's not the same for Ukraine.
Shooter? Wasn't your stream titled that the day of the shooting?
Listen to me.
I mean, who are we
listen to
kidding
me.
here?
The only thing I cover in situations like that is whatever the mainstream whatever mainstream media has reported on. Oftentimes, we just simply look at the live stream of the police force when they are talking about how many victims are there. That's it. Now, having said that, is that the case for Israel? No, it's not. Is that the case for Ukraine? No, it's not. And it wasn't. Okay. And in that circumstance, there are times where, of course, I'm going to get certain things wrong. But this is an 8-hour news coverage. If you look at a 30-second, if you look at a 30-second broadcast,
that's the criticism. It's not 30 seconds. You keep saying that. It's
okay,
not 30
if you look
seconds.
at a 5-minute
It's not 30
portion of a
seconds.
fucking
You're fucking
brother,
was your stream titled
you're not listening to what I'm
Gospel
saying.
by Israel.
On the
Dylan, how do you feel about Hasan calling what he does war coverage compared to your work? Don't press my buttons. Don't press my button. Don't provoke me. You guys are trying to provoke. You guys want me to go, you're trying to provoke me. Don't provoke me. I've made my opinions on his Ukrainian coverage clear.
that very
Gaza
same
hospital bombed by Israel. 800 people dead. That was your stream. What did
Okay.
I do to title it that? I didn't do that.
Okay.
I didn't.
Live from LA, the streets of Kiev are bombed. Okay, sorry. Okay. You provoked me a little. Let's keep going.
Flip that out of
Can you
context.
please listen
That
to
was
me?
You.
Can you please listen to me? Can you please listen to me? Can you please listen to me? Can you please listen to me?
What
Are
will
you
I
gonna
have to
listen?
show you for you to own up to this criticism? that
Okay,
you jumped to
because
conclusions?
you're not listening to what I'm trying to say. First of all, I never said
Because
800.
what you're saying is
I don't think I
irrelevant.
said
You're just
800.
going
That's
on
so
about
fucking stupid.
random shit.
Okay, I was literally repeating what the BBC coverage was. Not only that, but also because like I don't have a direct on the ground. I wasn't.
What was did the BBC? Hold on, I might have this wrong. All right, did the BBC say it was 100% Israel when they blamed each other?
The BBC's original assessment, yes, was that it was most likely an Israeli bombing.
Yeah, but they blamed each other in investigations.
No. That was literally
then
the reason why they had to rescind the coverage. That was the reason why they had to rescind the coverage and apologize for it. But also, what you're failing, you didn't do your research. Shut the fuck up. What you're also failing to fucking comprehend here in your dense ass mind is that, once again, and I repeat myself, I said, here is what I will believe. Here is what I will believe. If there's a third-party investigation, given the fact that Israel has lied routinely about the bombing campaign, and specifically had, in that very same morning, the Israeli Air Force said we had no bombing campaigns happening in the region.
Investigations.
We have no bombing. Just listen, okay? We have no bombing campaigns in the region, which was a lie. They were bombing in that region, actually, as a matter of fact. That's number one. Number two, Israel also personally brought forward inconsistent testimony, inconsistent statements as to why this was definitely an Islamic Jihad rocket. Okay? And the reason why we're having this conversation and how it's so fucking stupid, okay, it's so insanely idiotic, is because Israel is...
You know what really threw me for a loop and made me think about these moments where governments, like, they race to get information out. A nation state can publish information that is incorrect about an event, and then you immediately that does send up red flags, as it should, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they ended up like committing the war crime or doing the act, or that it's that none of their story is true. A good example of this would be Daria Dugina's assassination. The immediate fallout after Daria Dugina's assassination from the Russians was to immediately accuse Ukraine, and then after accusing Ukraine, bring up a lot of weird evidence, like, hey, the Ukrainian assassin left their photo ID in their apartment. Why would they leave their photo ID? And it's a Ukrainian military photo ID? That doesn't make any sense. Why? That's like you go to rob a store and then you drop your passport before you leave. Like, what? Why would you do that? And then people look at the ID and, oh, it's actually bullshit. Okay, it's been edited. It's been photoshopped. That's not good. So I wondered later as more evidence came out, and I was like, but it still looks like it was probably the Ukrainians or some Ukrainian intelligence operation. So what's going on? And I think what it was is that the Russians wanted to get a narrative out very quickly. And so they just scrambled. And it could be that the Russians are so used to lying that they just don't care. And so I could imagine a scenario where the Israelis, and I don't know, I would have to go back and look all the facts again. It's been a while since I reviewed the hospital bombing. Was like 3 weeks ago. But I could imagine a scenario where the Israelis legitimately like just tried to race out to get a narrative out there, got shit wrong, and it still wasn't them. That scenario is possible, but if somebody is publishing incorrect evidence, that's not good. It doesn't make their case stronger. It makes their case a lot weaker. I will bring up the fact, though, and this still baffles me. Why has Palestinian Islamic Jihad or Hamas have yet to turn in or show to the international community or any investigators the shrapnel from the bomb? Why have they yet to show that? Because it feels like that would be a strong piece of evidence. At this point, you know, it's been so long, I doubt they're going to do it. But that would be a strong piece of evidence if they had the shrapnel.
Is currently, while we're having this conversation, sieging the main hospital in Gaza. Israel, at that point, had 420 medical incidents, according to the World Health Organization. If you get your fucking news through clips, you are not going to understand why I said what I said, including that unless there is an actual third-party on-the-ground investigation, I will, of course, believe, given the circumstantial evidence mounted, that this is yet another Israeli bomb or some type of Israeli munitions, that I'm going to assume that, yes, Israel blew up this hospital just like it had blown up the cancer ward at that very same hospital 2 days prior. Did you see that part of the coverage? No, you didn't.
You know what you're doing right now and what you just did? All right? I criticized you for jumping to conclusions, right? Which, by the way, a lot of streamers didn't. A lot of news streamers didn't, right? I would have been down to make videos on them. Some did, but a lot didn't, right?
No, you wouldn't, dumbass. You only do this because it gets you fucking views. You don't give a shit about Israel.
All you did was justify the bad, like justify why
Israel claimed that the BBC was doing modern blood libel.
This is what you just said. All you did right there was justify why you should be able to report things badly. And then you dismissed it all saying, well, Israel's attacking Gaza right now, so none of it matters if I got it wrong.
Because, of course,
it's fucking embarrassing.
Because the point that you're trying to argue here without actually saying it.
The point is that you should just wait and fucking do a good job reporting. Why were you jumping to conclusions, making concrete statements you know nothing about? That's the same.
Then Hasan, I could have swore I remembered this. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong. Did he at one point commit to not really doing breaking news anymore? He doesn't do breaking news coverage. Did he commit to that at one point? I could have swore he did. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering something. He did? I vaguely remember, but I'm scratching like scratching the vertebrae of my brain right now, trying to figure it out.
Same criticism. You haven't disproved that at all.
I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Listen to me.
I'm losing my mind, bro.
He said on Piers Morgan that he has a principle of not covering breaking news. Got you.
First of all, one, you're holding me to a fucking higher standard than the fucking BBC, which the Israeli government said was blood libel for arriving at the same fuck. You know why I didn't apologize? You know why I didn't apologize?
You haven't done that.
You want to know why I didn't apologize? You want to know why I didn't apologize? Do you care?
Why don't you let me talk?
Do you care? Do you want me to tell you why I didn't apologize?
Because I know why you didn't apologize, because you never do. You always double down or ship the goal.
Wait, I don't apologize? I don't apologize? That's crazy, because you said I never apologized about being wrong about Ukraine, but I did. And you fucking lied and said that, actually you were just backing away.
I'm very consistent with it.
Yeah, you're consistently wrong, you dense fuck. Listen.
I haven't. You don't even watch the videos. How would you know if I'm wrong?
Why would I watch your dumbass drama farming videos? You don't give a shit.
There goes Chepo boy.
About anything. You don't give a shit about this conflict. You don't give a shit about this beyond it pushing your fucking
You
personal.
not watching my videos is the same level of reporting that you give Israel and Gaza. It's the same level of reporting that you give Ukraine.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. If you think
minimum effort in and just
you are
watch the
revealing,
shit.
you're
Just watch
revealing how stupid you are by claiming that watching a fucking YouTube video is the same as like reading news reports
I'm
and
not
talking
saying
to
it's the
on the
same.
ground
I'm saying
journalists and forensic analysts.
No, I'm not. I'm saying you won't even do the bare minimum, and you won't even do it for a drama video.
I'm
You won't
losing
do
my
it for
fucking
anything.
mind. Why would I
You never
care
do
about
it.
your drama video, dumb fuck?
Yeah, you do. That's why you invited me on. And now
I
you're just, like,
invited
sitting
you
here
on.
coping.
I invited you on because I thought that you genuinely had a perspective that was at odds with mine on Israel-Palestine. You
Yeah, my
said,
perspective-
never mind,
hold on,
it's
I'll
not
give
what we're
my
going to talk
Pal-
about.
can I
We're
give
going to
my
talk about
perspective
my
on
videos that I've
Israel-Palestine?
made on you. So
Can I give
now
my
we're
perspective on
stuck
Israel-Palestine?
having this fucking stupid conversation.
Yeah, 'cause you
When
didn't
I
do-
cover
you
shit
wouldn't
like
know
this,
what the debate would be about if you just watch the video.
Willie,
Of course.
Willie,
Is this how Hasan expected a conversation with me to go? Is this how? I don't know. I trying to think of how this conversation could have gone better. Trying to figure out if there's a better way. I guess it was just better prep time would have probably been better for Willie. More knowledge about Hasan's prior incidents of just getting stuff wrong. But I don't know if there was a good way to do this conversation. It all depends on Hasan and Willie's mentality going into it. And I don't think there was really anything productive that could happen here.
Classic hospitality
okay,
journalism.
all right. I'll ask you
journalism.
questions. I'll ask you questions. In your video, do you, I don't know, at any point bring up any of the resources that I'm using, like including the BBC, which you said?
Yeah, I showed the tweet you used. Yeah, I did. I showed the
Which
tweet
tweet?
you used of a missile striking the ground, going, doesn't that look like a JDAM? That actually looks a lot like a JDAM. That's your epic reporting. Those
my
are your
God.
epic sources, bro.
Yes.
I'm still not banned in this channel. I also know I have a good faith conversation with you. Dal will do it. Don't do that. Don't bother Hasan on my behalf. I number one, I think it's a pointless effort, right? He called me like a war tourist pervert. Those are like really like aggressive attacks. I don't think he wants to talk to me about it. He could have talked to me anytime about this stuff. And I'd rather not have you guys bothering him or you guys doing anything that could be misconstrued as harassment. Danabo, I will bother Hasan. Going to do it now. Don't bother Danabo. Actually, don't.
My epic sources. That was the only verified video of the strike at the time. What are
I
you
know,
talking about?
like you're a
Do you know where I
missiles
got
expert,
that?
though. Like you know how to interpret.
Do you know where I got that video
at
from?
all.
Do you know where I got that video from?
Where?
The Washington Post. That's where I got that video from.
Yeah, but you don't know how to interpret what that missile is.
That's
You're
really
just-
interesting
you're
you
just
say that
sitting
because
there
at the time
saying
I
it's
was
a JDAM.
talking
You have
at
no
the time.
fucking clue.
That's really
You don't know
interesting
where it is.
because at
What's
the
it mean?
time I was
I know at the time you
talking
it was
to
breaking news,
I was
so you
talking to
report badly.
open source
Again, it's the
intelligence
exact
people
same narrative.
and also forensic analysts. That's what I was doing, and I still do when I'm reporting on this kind of thing.
He was talking to forensic analysts. What forensic analyst did he talk to before he said 100% Israel? What open source intelligence person did he talk to? Because what I remember is like Hasan listening to like the audio, like, oh, that sounds like a JDAM, and like listening on screen, and he has no idea how to identify that, and you can't even identify an explosive that way. I mean, you can like maybe get like a broad idea about what type of like maybe a few ideas of it could be maybe a list of explosives, but trying to listen to the sound to figure out exactly which type of bomb was used it's a losing effort, and certainly not something that a non-munitions expert could do live on stream after listening to the sound of a JDAM for the first time.
Especially when it's outside of my immediate like expertise or whatever, I go to people that are making real-time assessments. One of the things that I'm sure you didn't mention was the GeoConfirmed Twitter thread. The GeoConfirmed Twitter thread.
GeoConfirmed are good people. One of their volunteers actually identified the strike on... The reason I know that the Russians published video of this bombing us during the aid run in Hasan was because of GeoConfirmed volunteers who not only confirmed that, found the video and posted it, but also found the coordinates.
That originally was incredibly viral, pointed to this
all
being...
exonerate you for jumping to conclusions?
No,
It seems like it
dumbass.
doesn't. Yeah,
Over the
so
course
that's
of 8
criticism. So
hours,
you're
I am
shifting the
parsing through
topic.
misinformation.
You're shifting the topic
Over
to
the
completely
no, I'm
random
not.
things.
I'm not shifting.
You know
We're
what?
still
You're
talking about this
reporting.
bombing. We're still talking about this bombing.
By the way, hold on. Can we move on? Because this is just circles. You're just
Wait,
repeating yourself.
whoa. No, we're not fucking moving on just because you feel
Okay,
like
go on.
this conversation is completely out of your fucking depth because you only look at
It's
clips.
very basic. The conversation
Because you only look at clips.
You jump to conclusions, and then you jump to conclusions, and now you justify.
This conversation would be better with you and Anna. It depends. Like if we were talking about Ukraine, it probably would be. Because we just know more about it. And I think that a lot of the stuff that, you know, a lot of the things that Hasan said that Willie just doesn't have like readily in his mind. I think that's probably it.
One thing that I do in breaking news stories is to parse through, okay, all of the information that is accumulating online that is going viral. I do this specifically for you know, whenever there's a mass shooter and some fucking psychotic right-wing weirdo will turn around and be like, oh, the mass shooter actually is trans or whatever the fuck, right? Sure. Now, in this circumstance, I can't believe we're still talking about this, by the way, because every single information, every single piece of information that Israel, as the official account, has brought forward has been an abject lie.
Hasan, I got a question,
that have been disproven by the very same authorities that you claim are totally on board, okay? Are totally saying like, no, it definitely has to be an Islamic Jihad rocket. Every single person I've talked to, from forensic analysts that work at the New York Times, that work at Washington Post, all the way to open source intelligence analysts that I talked to from a broad variety of different ideological backgrounds. The conversations that we had revolved around some of the other open source intelligence community members basically fucking bringing forward incredibly stupid conclusions, like how this massive casualty inducing rocket that was actually a cause of an intercepted missile that fell on the hospital. Every single point that was brought forward in the immediate aftermath of the hospital was actually completely incorrect. But you didn't make a video about that. You made a video about me. Because if you made a video,
about you, yes, you finally get it.
Stop. Listen. Let me finish. You didn't make a video about Geo Confirmed and how viral his fucking thread was. You didn't make a video about how wrong most of the news outlets were for directly reporting what the fuck, directly reporting what the fuck Israel says as though it's God's honest truth. Okay,
I don't report.
They got everything wrong on that subject, but guess what, dude? They got everything wrong, but you didn't. But there was no Willie Mac video on that because why would you make it?
Hold on, did they correct it?
Wait,
did they correct it?
No, they haven't.
They haven't? They've just doubled down on it?
No, I'm talking about all of the fucking false testimony that they brought forward about how Israel, most of these outlets that literally just repeated whatever the fuck Israel said, just went along with it because it goes along with the overarching narrative.
Right, but but how come I gotta make a video on them just because I made a video on you? Like,
because you said, wait, hold on. In the beginning of this conversation, you literally said, if someone else had gotten information wrong, I would have done a video on them too. But only you got the information wrong.
That. If I made a video on somebody, if I made a video on somebody else,
you said those exact words.
Let me correct you because that's a ridiculous statement, right?
But you did say that. If you care about misinformation, maybe you should, I don't know, make the next video about IDF and all the times that they fucking lied about every single...
I think the reason why Willie talked about it is because Willie is engaged in the streamer space, he's engaged in the YouTuber space, he's engaged in the content creator space. And so when somebody fucks up within that space, that's when he's most likely going to talk about it. He's not going to talk about if the New York Post's forensic analyst got it wrong on their second or third article about the bombing and analyzing whether the Israelis or Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket did it.
Bombing campaign.
So you're saying because I made a video on you, I now got to make a video on
for example, there's a lot of people who like say wrong things about the war in Ukraine all the time, but people in this space I'm going to talk about more because that's the space I'm in. These are the people I'm around. It's the space I care about. This is the space and the people I want to inform about the war in Ukraine. So if it was, for example, some like New York Post person who said that thing about the Kerch Bridge, then the odds of me talking about it are less because that's not like in the purview of the community I'm involved in.
Israel? Like,
No,
what are
you don't have to do
talking about,
anything,
bro?
but you
This
can't
is
also maintain
ridiculous.
the position that you care about the truth and honesty in journalism, like you're a fucking Gamergate holdout, being like, oh, I care about the ethics in video game journalism. That's why we have to dox these fucking female journalists or some shit.
I didn't dox anybody, bro. What are you talking
Where the fuck did that come from?
I didn't say that. I'm using. Do you know what a fucking analogy is, dumb fuck?
Wasn't a good analogy.
Yeah, hey, I got
I mean, it was. I don't know why the doxing was brought. Whatever.
a question. If I go ahead and let's say like you referenced in that big long rambly rant that lasted like 5 minutes, right? You referenced that you later in the stream got a story right, and that I should have talked about that because you covered some things right. Does that mean I can't criticize you for when you're wrong?
No, of
What are
course
we
you
talking
can.
about?
The entire point is framing something incorrectly. If there's 8 hours of coverage on a particular matter, and throughout that coverage, I'm actually personally
This is
talking
all
about how
just code
the
and
red line
excuses.
I would draw is on the
Why do you think
ground.
you're wrong?
If there is an on-the-ground investigation where they look at ground soil analysis, one factor of the forensic analysis on
Mm-hmm.
whether or not this was a misfire is actually seeing the impact, right? You have to look at the crater.
criticism
And the
of the
crater in and
bot-
of itself, immediately, once the dust settled and we saw the crater, I said, while I originally
Yeah, and you
looked
sounded,
at
like,
the
really
while I
depressed
originally
about
looked
it.
at the
You were
video,
disappointed.
can I please explain what's happening
Yeah.
here, or
Yeah,
or do
go
you
on.
just are you just in here to fucking cry? Okay,
Well, it sucks because you're going on about irrelevant stuff.
okay.
It's not relevant.
If your ultimate statement is that my claims are baseless, then you
Yeah.
haven't done your research
My
because
claim
none
is
of
that
this
you
is
jump
baseless.
to conclusions. You jump
Brother,
to conclusions.
Of course,
on
yeah,
breaking
I jumped to the same
stories that are
conclusions that
still
the
coming out.
BBC did too, and I also
Right,
said
but they corrected it. You don't.
no. But you're failing to understand is I, even on the same day, immediately after this, said I might be wrong on this, and if I'm wrong, here is how I will be disproven. Okay, if somehow we end up having an impact crater analysis and soil analysis to see what kind of munitions was used in this process, and it is consistent with an Islamic Jihad rocket, because we know what kind of rockets they have, and this most likely, and I said this the day of as well, was a possible batter rocket, the BADR rocket, okay, that Islamic Jihad does have. If that is the case,
That's the
case,
only way
then
you will
the
admit
ground
that
soil,
might be-
the ground, yes, chemical
Wait 1 second. I want to do something. Can we just like? Yeah, let's do it this way.
testing on the ground
Okay.
would prove that to be true. Hamas also, and I brought this up as well, which I thought was suspicious, could not find anything beyond the impact crater, could not find a possible shrapnel from the missile because the missile doesn't perish. Okay? So what I said is in situations like this, and I showed like an earlier event like this
Yeah,
where
Channel
Israel had
4.
lied. Okay? In situations like this, usually they will bring forward a piece of the fucking missile. Okay? If you're engaging in this, if you're engaging in my content in good faith, you would have seen all of this. I don't just like repeat whatever fucking thing I'm thinking about out of my ass.
You
Okay?
do all the time. That's what
That's
the video.
not
you should
true
watch the
because I'm
video.
well, I'm
You should just
telling
watch
you.
the video, dude. Hold on. In the same stream,
I'm
where
telling
say
you,
to
I'm telling
100%
you
certain,
where
calling
my
everybody-
analysis
hold on.
comes from.
Look
Talking
how you
to
reframed this entire thing.
brother, you have literally complained here
psycho.
about one hospital bombing that
No,
is
it's
still
not. It's about
not
your pattern
proven.
of behavior
One
of
hospital bombing that is
misreporting
still
things.
not proven to be an Islamic Jihad rocket
I know, but
by
you,
saying
the criticism
third-party
is
forensic.
You say 100%, and then everybody who says otherwise, you were calling genocidal.
I still think.
That's what you did on stream. That's what
yeah,
you did.
I did. I
these
did
are
do
the-
that
the
because
clips
they
right
are.
there.
If you're defending Israel, you are genocidal.
Right, but if you simply are
Wait, do
telling
you
the
think?
truth
Do you
with
think
this
defending it?
report,
Okay, let's
if
talk
you're
about that.
simply
Do you
telling
think
the truth
defending
when it comes
Israel?
to this
Do you think
report,
defending
that
Israel's
makes you-
actions?
Look how
do you
look how
think?
you're doing this now. You're now saying
Okay,
I'm genocidal.
because
for
you
just simply
brought up a
saying
new
the
point.
Dude, he looks so soulless. Look at him, man. Look at him. Oh my god. Look at him. Oh god. Poor buddy.
You brought up a new point. We're
truth
moving on.
matters.
We're not going to watch your shit ass video. You brought up a new
I
point.
know, because you don't want the actual truth.
Okay,
You don't wanna show everybody
do
the-
you
the
think what
context.
Israel is engaging in is ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement in Gaza right
Yeah.
now? You do.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Do you think defending this ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement campaign would be defending genocidal acts then in your own assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree. All right, got it. Thank you.
I know
Move
the
on from
criticism is your reporting. It's not that, bro.
Yeah, got it. You care more about
I care about
the
doing a
truth
good
in
job because
journalism. Okay, got it. I'm glad we agree on it at least. I'm glad we agree on it. I'm glad we agree on it. Okay, move on. Next point.
Are you just gonna should I now bring up the next point?
Well, I don't know what the fucking points are. Go ahead.
Or are you gonna go on more about irrelevant?
And here, by the way, for those for if you don't know, we do have an automatic Fossabot timer usually for breaking news, especially when it comes to mass shootings, which includes the main mass shooting, which you claimed I was covering immediately or whatever.
Yeah, you covered the same day, didn't you?
I don't remember if I did, but if I did, it was specifically just the police. It was probably just
This is good, actually. By the way, this type of a bot thing is really good.
Whatever the police testimony was at the time. But here is the Fossabot from that day for the record. Get automatically timing out someone who is trying to bring this up.
So
anyway,
your chat's not allowed to talk about it, but you talk about it.
No.
Ooh, that actually, I think that might be the. Ooh, that's a left hook if I've ever heard one.
Chat is talking about it so I can actually talk about it myself. And this was the day after. No, I actually didn't cover the main shooting at all that day. And I barely talked about that the next day, as a matter of fact.
There we go. That's good.
Okay, fair enough then.
But does that mean Hasan doesn't cover breaking news? Then what happened with the hospital bombing? Was that just him slipping up when talking about breaking news? Or what was it?
I haven't watched those streams.
Okay. I don't think you watch a lot of the streams because if you did, you would understand where a lot of my analysis is coming from, and you wouldn't be fucking making erroneous claims like this.
Bro. You kind of do bro politics and just shoot from the hip.
I'm sorry. Okay, okay, got it. What kind of politics do you watch, or what kind of politics do you actually engage with then?
I mean,
I have a style that. Oh, wait, I don't get it. I have a style that you don't like. Okay, the end. That doesn't.
Yeah, but it's you. The style is you being wrong about stuff. The style's about you doing wrong. It's the same criticism. We're just gonna talk in circle again, dude. Do you feel like you radicalize your audience when you get stuff wrong on this sort of reporting? Explain.
I would love to hear what you mean.
So,
by this.
For instance, you and Ethan on Israel, right? He's 100% seems in he's
an example I would bring is that if you're airing conspiracy theories about CIA Nazis being the real reason those protesters died at Euromaidan, right? That is something that could radicalize your audience against Ukraine, because it makes it sound like the government that is in power was just it was brought about in a CIA coup led by the far right. Which, if that is true, that is going to affect your opinion. That could radicalize somebody against Ukraine, I do think. But I don't know if I'd use the word radicalize. I would use the word bias more, but that could be something that could, again, radicalize somebody against Ukraine, I guess. Again, I wouldn't use the word radicalize. I would say bias people against Ukraine.
Sympathizes with the Palestinians, right?
Yeah, 100%. I agree
Comes on stream. Yeah. All that good stuff.
Okay.
But then when he goes ahead and he's saying stuff like, dude, your whole chat's calling me racist. Your whole chat's calling me a genocidal freak, right? Are you going to do anything about that? Mm-hmm. You don't. And the reason why they do that is because you said
it's really interesting you said that. Do you think
you won't let me finish?
Every single day up until that very moment, every single day.
I didn't even hear what Willie said. Let him finish quick. Come on.
Every single day, up until that very moment, I told my community, if you actually did watch beyond the clips, you would know that every single day, since the Leftovers broadcast, including the immediate aftermath of the Leftovers broadcast, the first time we talked at the Leftovers, at the H3HU studio, I told my community that Ethan is sympathetic to Palestinians and that he is not your enemy. To yell at him in this situation would be fucking fruitless, ridiculous. Plenty of people try to find drama.
The reason why your audience does it is because
hold on. You asked me what kind of community cultivation I engage in.
You didn't even know what I was going to ask because you cut me off.
Okay, go ahead.
That's what you fucking did.
Okay, go ahead. I'm being very rude to my guest, by the way, but go on. I'm sorry, Felix.
Am I your guest? Who's your guest? All right, I was just saying, do you feel like you radicalize your audience because your audience calls Ethan
he's talking
racist,
about me.
even though he's pro-Palestinian, right? And the reason why they do that is because whenever anybody just reports like a basic, a basic fact, like Israel likely didn't do the Gaza hospital bomb, right? Your response is to freak out and call that chatter genocidal and say that they hate all Arabs. So that's why they do. You feel like you're radicalizing them to do it. I mean, they do it for a reason.
Are you taking, are you in your own assessment here taking things out of context over the course of an 8-hour broadcast where you think maybe
in context. It's all in context.
No, you don't know context.
You gotta prove to me that
you
I
can
took
look
it
at
out of context.
because you can look at a fucking banning that is occurring on a stream and not recognize that banning is happening because it might be a sock account. That banning might be happening because someone is bad faith. That banning might be happening because I'm sorry, we're talking about how I cultivate my community and how I moderate my community. How the fuck is telling you how I moderate my community irrelevant? Everything it seems that goes against whatever narrative you want to frame is irrelevant in your opinion. So yeah, no wonder you want me to just watch the fucking YouTube video and sit in the goddamn shadows. Everything is irrelevant. You're asking me questions about how I operate. This is supposed to be your research. This is supposed to be your research, isn't it? Are you not supposed to be doing fucking research right now on your subject matter? So what's irrelevant?
You're asking, hold on. I just said, are you radicalizing your audience? And then you went on a rant about sock accounts. That's not relevant.
If one thing comes from my video with Hasan, or covering Hasan, if one thing could come of it because he responds to Willie talking about Hasan in his video, if one thing could ever come with it, it's not that he even talks to me. If he wants to talk to me, I'd be more than happy to talk to him, right? Even if I'm a pervert. Just talk to some Ukrainians. Talk to people from the country. Just talk to some fucking Ukrainians. That's the only thing I want to come from this conversation, is that we center these people in the convo more. That's all I want. That is my goal. And that's who I want to center. Because there's just things that he says that if there was a Ukrainian in the room, that could be another perspective could be offered that could either alter his mind, alter the mind of his audience, or push back against him when he slips up. And that's all I want from this. And I wanted to just repeat this one more time because I just want that to be the main takeaway you guys have from the video, is even if Hasan doesn't end up doing that, I think we should do that more in the community and center people in these conversations. When we talk about the civil war in Sudan, center some Sudanese people in the conversation. We talk about the war in Israel and Palestine, we should probably center Palestinians and Israelis in the conversation. When we talk about the war in Myanmar, we should center people from Myanmar in the conversation. I've been looking for a bit to have somebody from Myanmar on stream to talk about it, because I've talked about it before, but I haven't had them on, and I want to make sure that I apply, I go by the own standards that I work by, that I hold other people to. But that's what I want the main takeaway from this to be. And I know it's a very soy take, platform, make sure we're having an inclusive discussion, but it is important. It is important because if, for example, the first 15 minutes of this discussion went between, instead of Hasan and Willie, it was Hasan and Anna, or Hasan and somebody from Ukraine, then I think that conversation would have probably went differently.
No, because I'm talking about how I cultivate and how I moderate my community. The entire conversation is within the framework of how I moderate my community. And what I told you is, you don't have any understanding of why I'm banning who, for what reason. You're just watching in small increments without recognizing
that in a
political...
want it to be that way. It's not. I have entire streams downloaded.
Dylan, Hasan, Dylan is a war tourist pervert. Dylan, I don't want to be too harsh on Hasan. Look, okay, I don't want my good faith Andiness to be destroyed. I don't want to crumble under cynicism about the way other people have treated me. I don't want that to happen. I would like to be treated in a different way, obviously, than Hasan has treated me in my critiques or the critiques of those that I have platformed. But obviously I can't control what Hasan does, but I can control what I do and how I react to it. And, keep your head up high, keep your nose clean, everything will be all right.
Your whole stream.
Okay, that still doesn't matter because you don't know why we make moderation decisions. That's why you were wrong on the fucking shooting in Maine. That's why you were wrong on the Maine shooting too, because you can't comprehend what is going on behind the fucking scenes. So why don't you ask me if I'm your subject matter here, which it seems you watch all the fucking streams, instead of making up your own mind about how these streams go.
Just change the subject.
What?
If the
I'm not
subject
changing
is
the
about
subject.
you radicalize your audience and Ethan's the example, why are you going on about why you ban people? And making it sound so complicated.
Do you think I'm radicalizing my community against Ethan when I told you time and time again that I have kept my community in check over and over again? I have to repeat what I say for a third time because it's very straightforward. Brother, you ask me questions, I answer. You don't like the answer because it goes against your narrative that you're trying to fucking fulfill, and then you go, "Oh, it's irrelevant." It's not irrelevant.
I'm answering you about A, and you give me number 3. It's like completely a different fucking thing. I say, Hasan, let's do run, and you go, I swim. It's not fucking relevant.
It is absolutely relevant. It's absolutely relevant.
Go ahead.
Do you not think? Do you not think that my moderation is what we're talking about? You literally brought up Ethan.
What we're talking about is you attack people that talk about the facts, right? Like you go ahead and you're like, you're a genocidal freak, blah, 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 blah. Or opinions. It could be facts or opinions, right?
Uh-huh.
When it comes to...
Do you know how many people we ban on a daily basis?
Hearing the question.
Okay, go ahead. Because you're not fucking asking a question. You're just like ranting. Go on. Sorry. I'm sorry. Give me your...
All right, I'll keep the question short.
Yeah.
When you criticize chatters by calling them genocidal freaks for having opinions that really are pretty nuanced, right? On a subject that is fairly nuanced, right? Why are you surprised, or you shouldn't be surprised that your chatters do that to Ethan? Like you're the one that radicalized them into doing that. They're doing it to Ethan because you do it
if my word is so gold that a chatter is repeating what I'm saying in a moment's notice, then why are they not repeating what I'm saying or hearing what I'm saying, as a matter of fact, when I tell them over and over again every single day since Ethan and I had our leftovers broadcast that Ethan is actually an anti-Zionist, that he's sympathetic to the Palestinian plight.
You ban everybody that links my video. Why don't you ban them for doing that to Ethan?
Wait, what? We literally had Ethan as a blocked word for straight up weeks at a time.
Yeah, but why not fix the problem? The problem is they're calling him racist, not that Ethan's a bad guy.
Wait. I just told you how I personally said time and time again, every single day, whenever a chatter tried to bring it up, whether they were drama farming or whether they were genuinely concerned with something that they misunderstood from Ethan's perspective. And even in that same conversation that I had with Ethan, that I believe that he's a very empathetic person and that I believe that he cares about Palestinian people. As my co-host, I said this time and time again. Okay? Here's the question for you. Beyond that, what other mechanisms of control do you want me to bring forward, or are you just engaging in bad faith? Because I do, and I did. Yes, I did. I told my own moderators, because you don't know this. Again, after Ethan saw
your moderators are the one doing it, by the way. Like your mods are.
Yeah, I went back and looked at what they had said as well. By the way, for the record, I know that you said this.
Okay.
I love that.
Oh, so you did watch my video.
No, I know that. What do you mean? No, I didn't watch your video at all. Why are you getting so fucking excited? I'm saying
you just mentioned something. You said you saw.
Okay,
that.
My bad. I misspoke. I apologize. This is something that every single person has brought up in this situation, including Ethan even brought up. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, you got excited. Okay. Anyway.
No, I was pumped because I thought you were a secret WillyMac fan.
No, I did not watch your video, and I most likely won't watch your videos. But anyway, listen.
Sorry, it's muted. I said I'm just speeding it up because this is taking a while, and they're looping.
First of all, I'm not a journalist. I've never said I'm a journalist.
You do reports from the ground, bro. That's what you said.
Wait, when I said I do,
did he say he did reports from the ground? I don't think he would say that. Would he say that?
Reports from the ground? Where is that from? Do you have a clip?
Oh, yeah, it's before. It's why you said you wouldn't go on Piers Morgan.
Can you send me Can you send me the clip? Because I think it's probably a miscommunication. Like, I've never said I do on the ground reporting. If I said that,
people are saying, yep. Somebody else said, no, he did. Did he say he does reports on the ground? What reports from the ground have Hasan done? That you got to send me like a link.
I probably misspoke.
I mean, it's more me.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for him to say that because no one could say that Hasan does reporting from the ground. He hasn't done it on Palestine. He hasn't done it in Ukraine. Like, the closest I can imagine is I think he's gone to like a few like union strike events or something. I guess that's kind of like that's basically reporting from the ground. But like that 1 or 2 instances from that wouldn't make you like an on the ground reporter.
Facetious, but if you want to watch it, we can watch it. Let's do it.
Oh, you're admitting that you are
Everyone knows
lying
you're
and saying that I'm an on the ground reporter.
You just sit in your fucking house. Everybody knows you don't actually report from the ground.
Yeah, which is why I would never say that. So I don't know why.
You
so
did
wait,
say that though.
It doesn't make sense for Hasan to say it because it's such a laughable statement. The idea that, you know, he is on the ground report. He isn't. He hasn't done it. He doesn't go out and recreate original like news or documentary content. He doesn't do that. So I just don't believe he said it. I find it hard to believe. Or if he did, it was like a mistake. He said it.
He sells himself as an on-the-ground reporter.
but if it's between me going live and giving you 10 hours of on the ground, 10 hours of reporting from the ground.
He says on the ground, and then he corrects himself and says from the ground. So is he saying that the reporting he's giving is I doubt he's implying that he's the one giving the on the ground coverage. I would assume, and this would make more sense, I would assume that Hasan is saying that he's showing other people's on the ground coverage. That would make more sense, or that's probably what he was trying to imply.
At a critical moment, at a critical time, versus not going live that day just so I can go on Piers Morgan and fucking yell at him. I think it's selfish of me to take the Piers Morgan route.
This from the ground reporting is just him sitting in his room reading tweets. There is no.
Back to this.
That's what's funny.
I probably was talking about how I
mean, he said it, but I think he slipped up.
With on the ground reporters. I don't personally engage in on the ground reporting, so it probably was a moment where I misspoke. I've never said that I do on the ground reporting.
Yeah, I know. No, everyone knows you don't actually do on the ground reporting.
Wait, so why did you bring that up then?
Jesus Christ, can the mods deal with gutter chat? Thank you, mod. Thank you. Don't wish death upon people in chat. Stop wishing death on Destiny. What the fuck? Stop that. You can't do that in chat. TOS, come on.
I was just giving you shit.
Wait, so I don't understand. So where is your supposedly quote unquote journalistic integrity in this situation? So it's like, so
I mean, it's
all
a video that's also entertaining. So sometimes I just making fun of you, and other times it is actually a serious allegation.
All right, got it.
Yeah, I mean, you make
no,
jokes on stream. I mean,
yeah, I do. Which then you apparently, or if I misspeak, apparently you fucking use it in your commentary as though it's like super serious. So anyway,
I didn't name one example that I did. Though.
I don't know. I don't watch your videos. So
yeah, so don't make shit up. Here's a classic example.
Don't make shit up. You just said I fucking say I'm reporting on the ground when we both know I didn't.
Exactly right.
Well, no, he did say that, and I can understand somebody hearing that and thinking that, but I think it was a mistake. From the tone of his, I mean, I don't want to read too much into tone, but it sounds like he tried to correct himself in the moment too.
Also, on top of that, you literally started the conversation by saying you never apologize for fucking being wrong about Russia invading Ukraine.
You usually double down or shift the goalpost is what you do.
That's what? That's not true. I literally said
that's just what we talked about for the last like hour, bro.
None of this was shifting the goalpost. You just don't like it. That's it. You want me to be wrong. That's it. You don't want you want me to be wrong. That's why you keep saying you shift the goalpost.
The question I asked you was, do you feel like your audience acts that way towards Ethan because you act like that towards everybody else? And you just go on about moderation.
Okay. I will say Hasan's audience, I have 2 interactions with Hasan's audience. Like my variations of interactions with Hasan's audience are 2, excluding former fans. I think including former fans is not fair because they're former fans for a reason, right? My interactions with them over the last week and a half has been along the lines of like, hey Dylan, I like both you and Hasan's content, and this really sucks that, you know, he said that, but also like you clipped him out of context. I heard that you clipped him out of context, or so, that's one line, and the other line is, hang yourself, Nazi scum. Right? He's got a big net. He's got a gigantic community. Obviously, you're not gonna have all like fantastic, wonderful, well balanced, well adjusted, who knows social norms people. in his audience as well. Definitely when we're talking about Twitch community. But that is my spectrum of my interactions with Hasan's community. Because like one people are like, Dylan, I like your content, I like Hasan's content, this sucks, oh my god. And then the other one is, Dylan, I hope you put a gun barrel in your mouth. it's out there sometimes.
If my audience is acting that way towards Ethan, okay, but
you feel like
but
again, like I'm talking about like 1, 2, like 3 emails, right? Or 1, 2, 3 like DMs, right? It's not like a gigantic wave. I did not get a gigantic wave of Hasan harassment or anything. I didn't have that in my experience.
audience,
I will say Hasan's community is very, very parasocially attached to him. I have found that to be the case, and very defensive of him reflexively, which is true about many streamers. It's just also, in my experience, very true about Hasan.
they're getting their points from me. They're getting their anger from me. So
Yes.
why don't they hear me out when I talk about how Ethan is not
Because
someone that you should be yelling at all?
Having a different position has to be genocidal.
Oh, got it.
That's
So
why.
like they don't listen. So they don't listen to one thing. They listen to whatever favors your perspective in this matter, but they don't listen to the other thing
Yeah,
when
they
it
all
doesn't
think they're
favor
being
you.
too soft
Got
on
it.
him.
So you
That's
get to pick and
exactly
choose on what I get to do, or maybe
No,
let's be
it's
real,
really
you're
simple to
completely
understand.
oblivious to how much I've talked to my own community about not fucking yelling at Ethan and about how he's a good person, how he's an empathetic person, how he's a kind person, and
Good comment from chat. I will throw Dylan under the bus on a whim. I want that to be my entire community. You guys clip chip me on purpose, okay? I want that type of community. I want the type of community that'll skin me alive if given the chance. I want to constantly have a knife in my mouth looking behind my back. That's what I want.
truly cares about Palestinian people. Maybe
Is
that
why
has
you were,
some.
You were kind
because
of.
it doesn't go along with your narrative.
Watch the
My
debate,
point is
but
this.
From what
My
I've seen,
point is
you were
this.
kind of bad faith in your debate with him. It wasn't exactly like a very nice
Oh
debate
my
you had.
God.
I can't wait to go watch it. I'm gonna go find out myself. but-
Okay. Well, have fun watching it. This will.
Wait, did he watch it? I thought he... Isn't that the whole critique is don't watch the content? You don't watch the content before commenting on it? Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Was the
We'll see. Come on, let's
most
get through this.
unproductive. The most
I know,
unproductive
because you're mad I
conversation
disagree
possible.
with you, and you're mad that
No,
just
I'm not.
mixing
I'm not
around
mad that you
words
disagree with me.
doesn't
Plenty of people
change
disagree
the
with me.
facts.
I yell at my chat every fucking day, dumbass. There are people who disagree with me that have been in here
I
for
know, you
5
all
fucking
fucking
years.
demonize them all
Shut
for
the
having
fuck
different
up.
opinions.
No, that's not true. There's a difference between disagreements. There's a difference between disagreements and someone who is just trying to cut drama as hard as they fucking can. You don't
No,
know
if
anything
somebody-
about
if
Israel or
somebody gives you
Palestine.
a
You don't
real
give a shit about
report,
Israel or Palestine. You're
and
just
you
trying to
call them
fucking make money by
genocidal
cutting
thing,
drama, which
what
you've
is that?
shown. Which you have
What kind of
shown
conversation is
what
that?
you're interested in. You spread a fuck ton of misinformation,
This is
and
so
you
silly.
also literally
What
refuse to hear the
misinformation
additional
did I
content.
Sorry, just Hasan complaining about misinformation is just rich. I'm sorry. Like I'll good faith Andy, but come on, come on.
Behind it. You refuse to hear the additional context
what I
behind
got
it,
context.
and you just sit there and you say, Hasan, you must not be talking to open source intelligence community people. You must not be talking to actual journalists on the ground or literally actual forensic analysts that are working at Washington Post, New York Times, and the like. You must just simply be making this up. When I tell you, as I am the source matter
The
here,
majority of
right? I'm the
investigations
subject
say
matter
otherwise.
here.
Why do you
If I'm the
push
subject
that out?
matter of your commentary, I'm giving you what I do, what my process is, and instead of going, okay,
I know
maybe
your
I misunderstood
process.
how
It's
this
a
works,
competitive
you've turned
process.
around and tried to fucking yell about all this shit. I've tried to show you that the circumstantial evidence presented at the time and still to this day greatly favors that this was most likely another Israeli munition. Okay, I said this, but you don't give a shit because you
No,
don't
you
care
said
about the truth.
100%
You just care
is
about
actually what
fucking
you said.
stirring shit up. It doesn't matter if I say it 100%.
It does
Okay,
matter,
on the
actually.
same fucking day,
truth matters.
in the immediate moment after that, I have
It wasn't
said,
the immediate moment after that.
oh my fucking lord, dude.
Oh, you're
On the
lying.
same
I just
exact
let you lie.
coverage, on the same exact coverage of the bombing of this hospital, regardless.
I don't understand. Like I'd be like a lot nicer to Hasan in the conversation, and I get war tourist pervert. What insult did he get? What insult did Willie get? I didn't hear many insults in this discussion at all. I didn't get anything. Like I just platform Ukrainians that critiqued Hasan, and I got war tourist pervert psychopath, and like I haven't heard anything like that towards Willie. Damn. And what is it about my video that got particularly under his skin?
Of the actual, regardless of how overwhelming the evidence was that this was yet another Israeli bombing campaign, which, by the way,
There really
still
wasn't that much evidence, dude. All the evidence.
Yes, it
everybody
was.
reporting on
What?
all the people reporting on it.
Okay,
said we
okay,
should-
no. We
said
can't have this
wait for
conversation
more
then.
info.
If you legitimately think that there isn't enough circumstantial evidence that all pointed to Israel literally bombing the same vicinity, Israel bombing the hospital 2 days prior,
think you
if you
should
think
wait.
that is
That's
not
the
enough evidence that
criticism.
Israel was bombing the hospital again,
Not
including the fucking
100%.
doctors,
Not
including the
100%.
doctor. Wait, what?
Not 100%. I don't think. it's
Including the
100%.
fucking 90%. I still think it's 90% that it's Israel.
Yeah, you-
so how
I
about
know,
that?
You still think it's 90%.
Oh, so that's
even
the
with all the other
difference.
evidence.
So that's the difference. I didn't say 90%. My bad, brother. Sorry.
No, you
Next time
still
I'll say,
it's 90%,
guys, it's
even with all the
90% Israel.
investigations. You
What?
still claim it. You still double down and say the exact same thing.
Because of the evidence that I have presented. Every single point of evidence that Israel presented was discredited instantaneously. The only fucking evidence we have is the circumstantial evidence. I said all of these on the same fucking day of the coverage, okay? I said all of the evidence is circumstantial, but of course circumstantial evidence overwhelmingly says that this was yet another Israeli bombing campaign. We looked through the same...
Man, when you look at the damage in the parking lot, that's the thing I can't wrap my mind around, is the damage in the parking lot. Because that just is not from a Israeli airstrike. You look at that damage, that being the impact area, it's the hole would be gigantic. It's just not there. I would have to be like some sort of airburst munition that caused the damage that it caused. There's still so many questions about this. There's still so many questions. I mean, we got questions about this like a month and a half later. This is how important it is to not go crazy on breaking news, because you don't know how much information even the news outlets have. Not let alone you, the people on the ground have, let alone you.
The evidence.
We looked at,
there wasn't that much.
There wasn't any evidence? There was no evidence.
I mean, there was circumstantial, but you think that's enough to go off of when it's breaking news and they're going to...
Well, it's kind of crazy that you say that, because I did mention that it was circumstantial at the time and that it was overwhelmingly... So you do agree with me. Got it. Okay, so circumstantial evidence overwhelmingly favors that this is Israel. Got it, which was my commentary on the time. So now we've proven that you fucking found a 2-minute segment, a 2-minute segment on the day of to fucking clip and go, this is what Hasan said. He's clearly in the fucking wrong. He's so stupid.
And catch you in the Slack, right? I could just like do it. It's gonna be like really. It's gonna happen. I mean, what can I do here?
What do you mean?
I'm just gonna go watch the broadcast and show you lying.
Okay, go ahead. That's great. Watch the broadcast. You're most likely going to do the exact same thing that you've done thus far, which is over the course of a fucking 8-hour broadcast, you're gonna find another fucking moment to be like, see, he read the chat. He did this. He did that. There is. Over the course of an 8-hour broadcast,
this is the top. By the way, this is the top of the Twitch intelligentsia. This is it. This is the top of Twitch intelligentsia. This is it. This is the news. This is the coverage of the platform has reached. God, man. God. We gotta improve our coverage as a platform. We gotta improve our coverage, or Twitch politics will just. It's just not going to evolve. It's not going to get any better, and it's going to stay the same old, not going to grow as a community. And it's going to be a top-heavy community always, with just one streamer getting like 80% of the view, like the top maybe 1 or 2 streamers getting 80 to 90% of the viewership, and just a little bit people at getting the scraps at the bottom, getting 10 to 20%. We got to change up. We got to change up how we do breaking news coverage. We got to change up with how streamers who are covering news see themselves as a responsible party. Need to be more responsible. There needs more responsibility from people covering the news. There needs to be less people talking about whatever happens. And what I mean by that is people all like, no matter what happens, out of nowhere, people cover a news topic no matter what happens as a news politics streamer. What I mean by that is you could be covering a topic that you know a lot about, like let's say, I don't know, protecting tree canopies, and then all of a sudden there's a terror attack in fucking Kazakhstan, and now boom, you're now covering Kazakh politics as somebody with zero knowledge. And the only way that we can improve that is get such a broader like community on Twitch politics of people covering politics, so we have people with experience from Kazakhstan, from these places, so that when these happen, people can think, oh, I'll just turn to that one Kazakh political streamer. Oh, I'll just turn to that person who covers Ukraine. I'll just turn to that person. Or streamers need to start platforming people from these countries, start bringing people on who have expertise to talk about these topics before covering these stories as they develop. And even after the story develops, they should still be platforming those people, because there's no way you can make up years and years of study in a 24-hour period by reading a few news articles and regurgitating it, which is 80 to 90% of Twitch political coverage, and like honestly a lot of even my second channel coverage.
Always do. I'm just saying,
no,
like this, you're doing it in real time. You're doing it in real time, bro.
Over the course of an 8-hour broadcast, if you look to literally 3 moments, you can find me. You can find
as much as you, dude. That does 8-hour broadcast.
Because no one has the most psychopathic fucking fandom like idiots like you who fucking sit through every minutia to find a clippable moment.
He likes the word psychopath a lot.
Find a clippable moment to be like, he sucks, he's bad. That's the reason, dickhead. All right. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm being rude to my guest. I can't believe I made Felix sit through this. I can't believe I made Felix sit through this. Okay.
Could I ask you a question?
Oh, my guest has a question for you.
All right, let's
Go
hear it.
ahead.
Don't you think it's weird how like Anne Hathaway like isn't Jewish? I just found that out like last year.
I don't fucking know, bro.
Doesn't she like kind of like look like Jewish? I always thought that. I was like, let's go. That's one of ours. But apparently she isn't. She's
Are
like
you
the
Jewish?
opposite. Yeah.
Nice. Shalom.
Are you?
No, I'm not.
I was about to say Willie Mac.
I'm just a
That
Midwest
name
kid,
isn't in the
bro.
Bible.
Yeah. All right, take it easy, man.
Okay. Twitch politics. Number one source of news. Alternative media. Oh God. I hope next time when somebody talks to them about Ukraine and talks to them about these topics, and it's somebody who can remember the details and press them on it, because it feels like Willie Mac. The main thing he could have benefited from here is like either days of prep or somebody in the conversation who has experience in these fields, has experience either with munitions identification, or somebody, for example, the first topic, who has experience with the war in Ukraine. But I don't know if Hasan is ever going to agree to that type of conversation, because this might be an example of choosing your own battles, choosing to talk to the drama frog. And I don't know what else to call Willie Mac. I don't know if Drama Frog is the right thing.